Everyone was present at the high-level trading fair. Chen Xiang just realized that Yan Xilan was not here to host the transaction, but was also here to conduct it as well. Everyone was present at the high-level trading fair. Chen Xiang just realized that Yan Xilan was not here to host the transaction, but was also here to conduct it as well. Earlier last night, Chen Xiang had Su Meiyao use a creation divine liquid to duplicate a purple dragon flower. The chance to use up the 2 crocks of creation divine liquid he had formed in the immortal poisoning devil forest to turn the other half into a. Let me start. Yes. Hi plus Long took out a green pearl that looked soft and elastic. Inside, it had a green L.U.S. and a green glow secretly flowed inside the pearl like water. Seeing this bead, a few knowledgeable old men immediately opened their eyes wide and let out a light sigh of admiration. The wood emperor fruit is a fruit that grew from an ordinary tree for 100,000 years. It is very useful for cultivators of the wood attribute and can also be used to heal wounds. It contains a very rich life force and can be considered a high-grade immortal-grade fruit. Su Meiyao said, I would like to trade the wood emperor fruit for the fire emperor fruit, or other fire element medicinal herbs or pills of the same rank. Yes. Hi plus Long said. Yes. Hi plus Long was a leader of the sacred Dan school, so he was naturally a pill refiner, but he was still not a Dan immortal. Dan immortal was an alchemist that could refine high-quality and top-quality immortal pills, while CS. Hi plus Long could only refine mid-quality low-quality immortal pills. The other 9 people in the secret room did not have any reactions. Although this wood emperor fruit was rare, it was extremely attractive, so no one was willing to trade it. This made CS. Hi plus Long feel somewhat awkward, and it was an extremely shameful matter. I have half a middle-level immortal-grade Qilin fruit, if leader thinks it's suitable. An old man with yellow hair stroked his beard as he spoke. Qilin fruits were bred from the blood of fire-attributed Qilins. They normally grew in some extremely hot volcanoes and were places that Qilins liked to go to. Yes. Hi plus Long considered for a moment, then nodded. All right, deal. Just like this, the first exchange was completed, and Chen Xiang still did not make a move, because he did not know what he needed, and only waited for someone else to reveal a few good things, and Su Meiyao thought that he could, then he would. More than 2 hours later, there were already a few successful exchanges. Although there were a few immortal grade S medicine among them, they were all things that Chen Xiang would not need in the future. Yan Xilan used a precious piece of refining material to exchange for a mid-grade immortal sword. Right now, there are only 2 people who haven't revealed their items. Yes. Hi. Plus Long looked at Chen Xiang and an old man dressed in plain clothes. Half of the people present were people who had hidden themselves and could be considered to be powerful experts, to the point that even CS. Hi plus Long did not know who they were. The old man smiled. I don't think this young man has any particular goal. He came here just to join in the fun. Chen Xiang laughed. I guess so. But I do have something that I want to trade with you, it's just that I can't see anything that's satisfied, I don't know what to trade with you either. The old man took out a silver ring and showed it to the crowd, saying, This ring is called the Immortal Mansion Ring, and inside it is an immortal estate. The old man took out a silver ring and held it up, and showed it to the crowd, and said, This ring is called the Immortal Mansion Ring, and inside it is an immortal estate. Take him down. After Su Meiyao heard this, he immediately gave Chen Xiang this instruction. This ring came from the same person who created the invisible ring on your finger. The person who gave this ring to me was Sacred Dan Realm. When this immortal estate was released, its defensive power was very strong and it had many large formations protecting it. However, it only required a large number of spars as an energy source. If necessary, this was also a life-saving treasure. This was indeed a good item. A few people on the scene were stirred up, waiting for the old man to give them an exchange condition. Old Senior, this ring should be able to become invisible and fuse with the soul. Chen Xiang asked. The old man was shocked and asked, "How did you know?" "I was just going to say that. Have you ever heard of such a ring?" I once heard a senior speak of it." "Tell me the terms of the exchange, I want it," Chen Xiang said. The old man laughed. "Little brat, I'm afraid you can't afford my precious ring." "Bro, just say it," an old man urged them. There were very few refiners in Sacred Dan realm, and even fewer who could refine such high-difficulty storage magic treasure. Furthermore, they had to refine a luxurious immortal estate into a ring. The old man immediately said, "I need to change to a higher-level medicine. The best would be the more common one. As for what it is, I'll have to see the best one in everyone's hands." Very quickly, a few old men took out some medicinal ingredients. Some of them were just exchanged, but most of them were just high-grade immortal grade S. Some were high-grade immortal grade S, but they were not commonly used, and were not very useful. It's definitely worth it to take out the purple dragon flower. When you go to the immortal world, you will know how expensive this type of storage ring is. In terms of level, it should be a sacred weapon, Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang anxiously took out the purple dragon flower. Seeing that firecracker that looked like a dragon spitting purple fire, the entire group was moved. They stared at the dazzling purple dragon flower without blinking. "This is the purple dragon flower, there's no need for me to say any more," Chen Xiang laughed. Looking at this purple dragon's fiery flower, they were so jealous that their hearts were bleeding. They couldn't understand why a brat like Chen Xiang would suddenly have this kind of thing, and even took it out to exchange. This was because if the purple dragon flower was nurtured carefully, it could become a golden flame dragon flower, and then it would become a holy level dragon medicine, incomparably precious. If these old fellows were Chen Xiang's elders, Chen Xiang would definitely be scolded badly by them. However, these old fellows could only watch on helplessly. Yes. Long had long wanted this high-quality fire-type medicinal ingredient, but he had no other choice now, because everyone could tell that Chen Xiang really wanted the storage ring. "It's indeed a purple dragon flower. I never thought that I would be able to see it in my life." The old man was stunned for a moment before he exclaimed in admiration. "Old Senior, using this to exchange for your immortal estate ring should be very fair, right?" Chen Xiang laughed. The old man laughed and nodded, exchanging with Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang received the immortal mansion ring. Moreover, he immediately dripped his blood and bound it to his body, fusing it with his soul. He could control it with his mind and hide it within his body without being discovered. Chen Xiang received the immortal mansion ring. Moreover, he immediately dripped his blood and bound it to his body, fusing it with his soul. He could control it with his mind and hide it within his body without being discovered. However, what made him a bit depressed was that he still couldn't see inside. He could only feel the SPAC inside, but he could still release the immortal estate inside. It was just that it consumed a lot of energy and also required a large empty SPAC. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were also extremely excited at this moment, because they would soon be able to move into a luxurious immortal estate. The high-level trade fair had ended, and many people had a look of regret on their faces. They had watched a little kid trade a purple dragon flower for a broken ring, which made their teeth itch in hatred. After he was done, Chen Xiang quietly brought Chen Xiang to her room. "Xylan, don't you feel that we're having a clandestine love affair?" Chen Xiang said while grinning. He casually lied on top of Yen Xylan's fragrant purple bed. Yen Xylan was not angry and smiled sweetly. "You mischievous brat, I am doing this for your own good. If no one else knew that you and I are so close, then it would be even more troublesome than offending Chaotic Mountain." Chen Xiang laughed. "Of course I know, who told our Xylan immortal fairy to love everyone. Even women cannot bear to be jealous of you, let alone men. If anyone took Sister Zilan away, that person would definitely die from happiness. B-A-S-T-A-R-D. No wonder a girl like Yenyao would be completely tricked by you, to be able to become your fiancé. Being praised by Chen Xiang, Yen Xilan's smile became even more beautiful and sweet, but it did not lose her blee and dignified temperament. Seeing that this mature and graceful woman was so close to him, Chen Xiang was a little moved, but she was a fairy with extremely strong powers. As long as you are willing, I can marry you, Chen Xiang joked. With Yenyao here, how can you be so greedy? Aren't you afraid that I'll tell her? Yen Xilan purposely said coquettishly. Seeing that, Chen Xiang's heart was thumping. He really wanted to throw himself onto her and embrace her. Don't worry, if you marry me, Yenyao will be happy to have such a good older sister. Chen Xiang giggled. Big sister Zilan likes even women, she definitely won't be angry. Don't be so talkative. Yen Xilan pouted and pouted. Just like that, Chen Xiang laid on Yen Xilan's bed, while Yen Xilan sat on the side of the bed, carefully listening to the other parts of the great profound God soul art that Chen Xiang was using. Yen Xilan's soul was powerful, it would never go away before. She would remember Chen Xiang's words once, so Chen Xiang teaching her was not that difficult. In one breath, he imparted to Yen Xilan the mental cultivation method left behind by the great profound God soul art. At this time, Yen Xilan was also affectionately pampering him and pouring him a cup of tea. In order to thank Chen Xiang, she even agreed to Chen Xiang's request to help him massage his back and legs. This was something she had never done before. Although this was the case, she didn't feel so conflicted in her heart. It was because she was very happy to chat with Chen Xiang. In Yen Xilan's eyes, the rest of the people in the sacred Dan realm were of different species. Only Chen Xiang was her kind, and she was already easy to get along with, so right now, she was even more intimate with Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang and Yen Xilan had been together for 2 days, and he felt extremely comfortable being together with this beauty who was as gentle as water. There's still some time before the alchemy compet. 1 Tian. I'll take this opportunity to teach you some magical techniques, but not much, Chen Xiang said. Yen Xilan nodded her head. She was extremely excited now. She knew that her spirit power was extremely strong, but she did not know how to use it. Chen Xiang first imparted the 72 changes to him. This was with Long Xue's consent. It was 3 days later after he memorized the 72 changes. Yen Xilan looked at Chen Xiang strangely. That jade dragon flower is you. Hee. Chen Xiang stuck out his tongue. This made Yen Xilan pinch the flesh on Chen Xiang's arm, and he pouted lightly. So it turns out you were the one doing it, and you said you wanted me to apologize? You sure are gutsy. If you were to be discovered, we'd be done for. The fact that Chen Xiang was able to pass down the great profound God's soul art and 72 changes to Yen Xilan signified that he trusted her greatly. Furthermore, since Yen Xilan was aware of this fact, she naturally would not leak it out. Aren't I fine now? Chen Xiang laughed as she squeezed Yen Xilan's jade hand. Don't want it next time. It's dangerous, but why don't you take the flower away? Yen Xilan asked curiously. Half a flower would be enough for me. Chen Xiang laughed. Continue with the technique. I still do not know what the chaotic mountain will do to me. If I were to be chased by them, I would have to hide for a very long time. Yen Xilan's situation had indeed made her very worried. At this point in time, she had already treated Chen Xiang as her closest kin. Just the 72 changes is not enough. I still need to learn a few offensive techniques. I have yet to learn any of these. I am unable to use them, but I can teach them to you first, said. All of these abilities belong to Long Xue. If he did not say it, Chen Xiang would not have known that she possessed so many powerful small abilities. After a day of rest, it would be the pill refining compet. 1 Tian. At that time, there would be many people partic. 1. Aiding, many of them being famous, and Chen Xiang would have completed his important task. I have to go back. If Yan Yao is not able to find me these few days, he will definitely be worried. Chen Xiang jumped up from the bed and stretched his body. Yes, when she doesn't become the city lord, you can let her come to my place. At that time, I will also ask the sacred dance school to rest, and at that time, I will cultivate in seclusion with her for a period of time. Yan Xilan helped Chen Xiang tidy up his clothes, with eyes full of tenderness. He looked at her beautiful eyes that were trembling under her eyelashes, and couldn't help but hug her. Qinglan, I'll come find you in a while. I still need to buy a batch of ground-level pills. Chen Xiang breathed in the fragrance of her hair and caressed her back. Yan Xilan did not expect Chen Xiang to suddenly hug her, her face pressed against Chen Xiang's warm chest, listening to Chen Xiang's rapid heartbeat, her face slightly flushed, her heartbeat speeding up. Leave it to me. Yan Xilan replied softly. Chen Xiang released her, gently caressed her face and smiled. Cultivate the divine way properly, you are not alone, I will accompany you. Yan Xilan's heart warmed as he nodded his head. Then, using his sacred art, Chen Xiang flew out of the window in the form of a but turfly, heading towards the city lord's mansion. Su Meiyao scoffed, You little scoundrel, you actually dared to do such a thing in front of me, but you really have some skills. Sister Meiyao, don't worry. When I have time, I will help you move. You will soon be able to live in a big house. Chen Xiang laughed. In the evening, under the reflection of the beautiful sunset, the small courtyard in City Lord's mansion was especially beautiful. Even more beautiful, a white-clothed female was dancing with a snow-white sword in her hand. In the evening, under the reflection of the beautiful sunset, the small courtyard in City Lord's mansion was especially beautiful. Even more beautiful, a white-clothed female was dancing with a snow-white sword in her hand. With regards to Chen Xiang's sudden appearance, Du Yenyao was no longer surprised. She could not understand why Chen Xiang could always get close to her easily. Since the trade fair had already started, she had never seen Chen Xiang before, which made her a little worried. Where have you been these days? Du Yenyao asked softly. If it was in the past, she would not have asked. I saw Yan Xilan. She had already agreed to let you follow her in cultivation, and when you don't become city lord, I will look for her. Chen Xiang laughed. This sword works pretty well. When Du Yenyao heard it, he was extremely happy. However, she, who was usually cold, only smiled slightly. Even so, she appeared exceptionally beautiful. This is an immortal sword, it's definitely handy. Du Yenyao said. You really do have a way to make Zilan immortal fairy let me follow her in cultivation. Oh right, that Fan Yakin came to find you a few times. I never thought that he would cause so much trouble in the clan, to actually be able to escape so quickly. Chen Xiang was surprised and asked anxiously, Where is he now? He was the one who delivered me to the mortal martial realm. This guy was able to run to the mortal martial realm from here. He truly has some ability. What mistake did he make in the family? He entered the forbidden grounds of Fan family and stole a few tombs. This is a capital offense, but he is able to partake. 1. P8 in the alchemy compet. 1. Tie-in safely. Du Yenyao said. He's in the Fan family restaurant in the city. You just have to go find him. Chen Xiang hurriedly walked out of the city lord's mansion and rushed towards Fan family restaurant. In the sacred Dan realm, other than Du Yenyao and Du Hai, only Fan Yakin knew of his background, and he was also very clear about it. Now that Fan Yakin had come, he naturally had to go greet him. Chen Xiang heard that there was a small lake in the middle of it and that outside this huge restaurant there was a huge river surrounding it. If he wanted to enter the restaurant, he would have to walk across a luxurious bridge. Entering the restaurant, Chen Xiang immediately asked the shopkeeper for permission to see Fan Yakin, and the shopkeeper knew that someone was looking for Fan Yakin, so he anxiously went to welcome him at the highest floor of the restaurant. Chen Xiang quickly saw the graceful Fan Yakan. He was dressed in gorgeous clothes, looking extremely blee and imposing, and was holding onto a golden fan in his hand. The fan was filled with sparkling stones. Brother Shun, I knew that no matter where you are, you would be able to create a storm, ha ha. When Fan Yakan saw Chen Xiang, he laughed out loud. That's fine. I'll go back sooner or later anyway, so I don't have any concerns. Chen Xiang laughed and walked into a luxurious living room. He sat at a green jade table and drank a type of extremely precious wine. Fan Yakan chuckled. You have only been here for a short while, and have melted Du Yanyao's ice mountain. This has caused many disciples from famous sects to admire you from the bottom of their hearts. In the sacred Dan realm, even within the chaotic mountain, there are many people who want to take her down, but because their grandfather is so powerful, he doesn't dare to force things. Chen Xiang only laughed. He was just acting with Du Yanyao. I've heard that Brother Fan has caused quite a stir in your family. For you to be able to leisurely stay here and watch Brother Fan, you must be quite capable. Fan Yakan brought up this matter, waving his hand and sighing. Don't mention it, I was brought here by them to partake. 1. P8 in the pill refining compet. 1. Tian, I also heard about this matter in secret. All the big shots of the various big powers are all secretly betting. If someone from any power obtains first, it would count as their victory. Oh? Why didn't Yan Yao mention it to me? Chen Xiang asked in shock. What if I win? So what? Du family did not partake. 1. P8 because the patriarch of the Du family is currently in closed-door cultivation. Without this guy to lead the way, the other old fellows of the Du family would not dare to rashly bet. I also heard that after Chaotic Mountain found out about this hidden gamble, he even sent someone over to stir up trouble. Fan Yakan gloated. Over a dozen of my Fan family's old fellows have already taken the risk. If Brother Shin also partake. 1. P. Atesh haha. I am sure that I am not as good as Brother Shin, so I only came to join in the fun. If no major power wins, then we will consider it as Sacred Dan School's victory. Chen Xiang scratched his chin and said, if Chaotic Mountain or other people were to obtain the first place in the pill refining compet. 1. Tian, wouldn't that mean that the Sacred Dan School would have a huge advantage over us? Of course, but the odds of winning the compet. 1. Tian is much higher for the people of Chaotic Mountain. I heard that the Chaotic Mountain was not only there to disturb the compet. 1. Tian, they were also there to receive the rewards. As for the rewards, they would only announce it at the beginning. In short, it is a good thing, otherwise the Chaotic Mountain would not have thought of doing so. Fan Yakan said. Chen Xiang was also very concerned about the reward. He had already found the devil-suppressing blood, and the next thing to do was to get a large sum of money from the Sacred Dan realm and leave. Brother Shin, you should still be careful. You took away 2 of the Chaotic Mountain's Chaos Fire S, and killed Guohuaqing and Lin Yes. They will definitely not let this go easily. Although these 2 are not very popular in Chaotic Mountain, in order to protect their dignity, the Chaotic Mountain must capture you. Warned repeatedly. Since Brother Shin could still appear in the Sacred Dan realm, he knew that Brother Shin must be partake. 1. P. Aiding in the pill refining compet. 1. Tian, because under those circumstances, if you can bring out a person's potential, it would be a good opportunity to refine the pill successfully. As long as you succeed once and accumulate experience, the next time you can refine will be very easy. Chen Xiang chatted with Fan Yakan in the restaurant all the way until night before he returned to the city lord's mansion. He was also excited to meet the alchemist, but he was not so worried that the people from the Chaotic Mountain would find trouble with him, as Du Hai had said that she would help him settle it. On the way back to the city lord's mansion, Chen Xiang suddenly felt a kind of faint heat, But the people in the city lord's mansion all had an uncomfortable face and their entire bodies were covered in perspiration. One look was enough to tell that they were extremely hot. Is that so? Chen Xiang stopped a servant who was running out and asked. City lord cultivates in flames, causing our bodies to emit hot air. We can't take it any longer, so we can only keep our distance. It's too scary. The servant's entire body was burning hot. Chen Xiang had sent her a cold water attribute in Qi, which made her feel much better, and immediately thanked Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang had his heaven fire soul, so naturally he could not feel any heat. He arrived at Du Yanyao's house, only to see that the plants here were all dried up and were emitting smoke. The house that Du Yanyao lived in had already turned into ashes. This caused Chen Xiang to be extremely worried. He was worried that Du Yanyao's cultivation will cause his qi to go berserk, and now that Du Yanyao was still training in the secret underground room, a wave of scorching qi was rising continuously from below, causing the pond in the courtyard to boil, causing Chen Xiang's heart to palpitate and his body to jump. He quickly walked to the entrance of the secret underground room. Just as Chen Xiang was about to head to the underground secret room to look for Du Yanyao, Du Yanyao suddenly came up from below. She looked around and sighed. I feel that my fire soul is about to evolve. It's very unstable, seems like I can't partake, that I.P.8 in the pill refining compet, that I.Tien tomorrow. Just as Chen Xiang was about to head to the underground secret room to look for Du Yanyao, Du Yanyao suddenly came up from below. She looked around and sighed. I feel that my fire soul is about to evolve. It's very unstable, seems like I can't partake. 1.P.8 in the pill refining compet. 1.Tien tomorrow. What? Fire soul evolution? Chen Xiang exclaimed. Although it was possible in theory, he had never heard of it. Yes, I just felt that my fire soul was about to break through. I didn't expect it to be cultivated to the peak of the 100 refining realm, and along with the strengthening of my body and innate qi, my fire soul also broke through as well. As for what it is, I'm not too sure. Du Yanyao looked around helplessly. This was all caused by the scorching heat that she felt when she attempted to evolve her fire soul. I need to contact my clan as soon as possible and get them to send someone to take over the city lord. I need to find a place to pause this stage. Du Yanyao looked at Chen Xiang apologetically. I'm sorry, I can't partake. 1.P.8 in the pill refining compet. 1.Tien with you. Chen Xiang wiped away the sweat on her face and laughed. It's alright, the evolution of the fire soul, this is extremely rare, even more important than the pill refining compet. 1.Tien, I can't delay it. Du Yanyao nodded his head and quickly sent people to contact the clan members. Then he set up an array formation in the BAS. ENT to prevent the hot air she was releasing from leaking, and to prevent others from getting close. Chen Xiang also lived in this courtyard. His house had turned into a pile of ashes, but the underground cave was still there. Even though it was night time, the news of Du Yanyao quitting the compet. 1.Tien quickly spread throughout the entire sacred Dan city, especially to those who came to partake. 1.P.8 in the pill refining compet. 1.Tien, they felt that their heavy shoulders suddenly became much lighter, because the quality of Du Yanyao's pill refining was extremely high, and he was very famous even in the entire sacred Dan realm. Many people still managed to gather some information because there was such a huge disturbance in the city lord, causing such a terrifying heat wave. It was definitely unconcealable. It had already been spread out, and after some lysis, many people agreed that there was a problem with Du Yanyao's cultivation, and that he was unable to partake. 1.P.8 in the tournament. Deep into the night, Chen Xiang and Du Yanyao stood in the courtyard that had been burnt to a crisp. Sorry, because of me, you won't have a comfortable place to stay, you can stay in the hotel outside. Du Yanyao's ice-cold beautiful face was filled with shame. Chen Xiang laughed. It doesn't matter, since I have been in the secret room all day, with this thing in hand. When you are about to undergo closed-door cultivation for a long time, eating it later might be useful to you. When Chen Xiang first obtained it, he cut it into many pieces. Although he gave some to others, there were still many left, and since he had the creation divine liquid now, as long as he had the time, he could make many copies. Du Yanyao's nose moved slightly. She sniffed the strange fragrance that was being released from the earthly fruit and immediately determined that this piece of fruit flesh was not ordinary. What is this? Although he had not been with Chen Xiang for long, she knew that Chen Xiang had always been a generous person, and there would never be anything ordinary. And although it was just a small piece of fruit meat right now, she felt that this thing could be the highest level thing she had ever seen in her entire life. Chen Xiang laughed. This is the earthly fruit's fruit. Although it is only a small piece, it is very useful. Keep it for now. After eating it you need to immediately digest it. It will take a while. Du Yanyao was shocked. This was actually a divine fruit. Of course she had heard of the earthly fruit, but the geocentric flood furnace was also the holy land that every cultivator of fire would yearn for the most. It existed in every world, but very few people had ever gone there. Du Yanyao now understood why Chen Xiang had allowed Yan Xilan to bring her along to cultivate. Seeing that Chen Xiang had double the original amount, she could only secretly thank Chen Xiang in her heart. In order to partake 1 P8 in tomorrow's pill refining compet. 1. Tian, Du Yanyao advised Chen Xiang to rest early and adjust her state. Tomorrow, she would return to her clan to cultivate quietly. In the morning, after Du Yanyao and his farewell, they left the sacred Dan city. The new city lord would arrive in a few days, and all the things here were under Du Kongxing's care. Partake 1p. Aiding in the sacred Dan meetings alchemy compet. 1 Tian was also within the sacred pill plaza. The vicinity of the plaza was filled with the sacred Dan school's businesses, auctions, hotels, medicine stores, etc. A series of shops all belonged to the sacred Dan school. Because of this, these shops in the sacred Dan school had become very popular these days. Even though the price was higher than usual, they were still very busy. Brother Shin, I didn't expect your wife to be like this. On the way to the plaza, Fan Yakan met Chen Xiang and anxiously asked. It's fine, it's just that she's on the verge of breaking through. She also has the fire soul, which is why something happened to her, making her fire soul a little unstable. That's why she can't partake. 1 P8 in the pill refining compet. 1 Tian. Chen Xiang said. I originally wanted to see you two, husband and wife, fight each other to death. What a pity. Fan Yakan laughed. At this time, Chen Xiang also treated Fan Yakan as his friend. If not for Fan Yakan, he would never know when he would be able to come to sacred Dan realm, and Fan Yakan had also kept his ident. 1 Tai a secret. There were a lot of people partake. 1 P. Aiding in the pill refining compet. 1. Tian, Chen Xiang saw that there were thousands of people lining up in the middle of the plaza, performing the first round of selections, all to quickly eliminate the majority of the contestants. Those who want to test their flames and have fire soul should be able to pass this round. This first round should be able to eliminate 700 to 800 people. Fan Yakan slapped in front of Chen Xiang and said while clicking his tongue. Then what's the second round? Chen Xiang asked. He was extremely confident in his ability to test for flames. The second round is to refine 5 elements Jinyuan Dan, and they are all made up of extremely poor quality medicinal herbs. There is only one chance, and in this round, only 20 people will be able to pass which is the fastest, the best, the highest number of people being 20. This test will definitely not be a problem for Brother Shun, although it will increase the difficulty of your pill refining process. Fan Yakan smiled mysteriously. The flame test was very simple. They would place their hands on top of a white stone ball. If the flame was very strong, the stone ball would light up even more. Once it reached a certain level of brightness, it would pass. As he waited in line, Chen Xiang could occasionally see a burst of dazzling light in front of him. Each time there would be a cry of surprise, because it was always one person with a strong fire, which was something that many alchemists envied and envied. Each test's duration was very short. If the stone orb wasn't lit up at a specific time, they would be eliminated, so Chen Xiang and the others didn't have to wait too long. It's going to be my turn soon. I really want to throw the water here and then leave, but I'll definitely be scolded to death by my family. Fan Yakan said as his mouth twitched. Fan Yakan dared to dig his ancestor's grave. He was forced to partake .I.P.8 in it, so he wasn't in the least upset. But now that he had committed a heavy crime, this was the only way for him to reduce his crimes. He had no choice but to bite the bullet. Fan Yakan dared to dig his ancestor's grave. He was forced to partake .1.P.8 in it, so he wasn't in the least upset. But now that he had committed a heavy crime, this was the only way for him to reduce his crimes. He had no choice but to bite the bullet. Suddenly, a burst of intense purple light shone. That kind of light seemed to pierce through people's bodies. Wave after wave of scorching power drilled into their bodies. It was extremely uncomfortable, but Chen Xiang was completely fine. The firestone ball cracked. Let's change it. An old man exclaimed, Lin Shi Pa S. This shocked everyone present, because this was actually a woman who possessed such a powerful flame. One look at her and they could tell that this was a purple fire soul. Lin Shi, I think it's that big sister Lin Yes. HI+. The Lin family inside are really all good seedlings. Although that Lin Yes. HI+ is a little hateful, but his strength is very strong. Fan Yakan looked at Chen Xiang and chuckled, but the dog head was still chopped off by someone. The surname Lin, and the flame was so fierce, everyone quickly realized that this was someone from the chaotic mountain. Finally, it was Fan Yakan's turn. What name? An old man asked indifferently. Fan Yakan. The old man immediately widened his eyes and laughed. So it's the brat that dug up Fan family's ancestral grave. I never thought that you would be able to come here alive. What is inside the ancestral grave? Is it worth it for you to go all out like that? Fan Yakan laughed. I only have a broken array disc and a divine sword. I used that array disc to stroll around the heaven realm and returned the divine sword back, so I could keep my life. Amongst the higher-ups of the powers, Fan Yakan could be considered a.n.o. body now. Many of the old guys were shocked when they heard that he had dug up Fan family's ancestral grave. When the old man heard that there was a divine sword, his face paled even more in shock. Little guy, let's begin the test. Let me remind you, you have to use all your strength from the start. Otherwise, you won't be able to pass the test if the ball doesn't light up after some time. The old man said. Fan Yakan pressed his hand on the stone orb and ferociously poured in the fire attribute innate chi. Seeing the stone orb, he immediately saw a type of black light, shocking everyone. Even Chen Xiang was shocked. It was actually black flames. No wonder the Fan family didn't do anything to you. So it turns out that you obtained your ancestor's nether fire soul, a fire soul that is even stronger than the purple fire soul. The old man sighed in admiration, while the stone orb was already more than half shattered. This was the first time Chen Xiang had heard of the nether fire soul, and Su Meiyao, Bai Yuyu, and the others were also one. Hee, did I pass? Fan Yakan asked with a smile. Of course, next. The old man shouted, while recording Fan Yakan's pass sing. When it was Chen Xiang's turn, the old man asked indifferently, Speak your name. Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang smiled faintly, but Fan Yakan did not leave immediately. He was sure that Chen Xiang had the fire soul, but he had to see what it was because under normal circumstances it could hide the color of the flames, but he could not test it on the stone orb. The old man was startled and looked at Chen Xiang in disbelief. You actually dare to come back? Why would I not dare? Chen Xiang helplessly spread his hands. Why does everyone ask me that? The old man curled his lips and said, You took 2 chaos fire and killed Guohuaqing, the chaotic mountain's sentencing elder, yet you still dare to partic. 1 P8 in the pill refining compet. 1 tie-in with such a high profile. You're simply walking into a trap. When Chen Xiang was partic. 1 P. Aiding in the high-level trade fair, the people there did not leak news of Chen Xiang's return. It could be seen that those old fellows still had their principles. If I was afraid, I wouldn't have come back to partic. 1 P8. But then again, what exactly is your sacred dance school's reward? I took the risk of coming back to partic. 1 P8 in the tournament just for that thing. Don't make me come here for nothing. Chen Xiang laughed. When the next round starts, leader will announce it. Let's begin the test. The old man could tell from one look that Chen Xiang and Fan Yakan's relations, Hi+P, was very good. If not, there would be no laughing to it. I didn't expect you to know how to refine pills. It's such a pity that your city lord wife didn't come. Remember to use all your strength to start the test. The old man reminded him again. The matter of Chen Xiang returning to partic. 1 P8 in the compet. 1 tie-in had instantly spread out. Some of the people from the chaotic mountain that were hidden amongst the crowd hurriedly reported it. They did not dare to grab Chen Xiang alone. Even he and Guohuaqing were killed, let alone them. Chen Xiang rubbed his hands together. He also wanted to see what the results of the Heaven Fire Soul test would be like, and what kind of light it would give. He pressed both hands on the stone orb and activated genuine Qi of Universe, urging the Heaven Fire S to pour into the stone orb. A burst of fiery light suddenly burst out, but suddenly disappeared, which was unexpected, because under normal circumstances, the light would continue for a period of time. Those who saw Chen Xiang's test at close range all had their mouths agape, staring at the white powder in Chen Xiang's hands. The most powerful test would at most cause the stone orb to split open, but the stone orb Chen Xiang was testing had turned into a fine white powder, which showed that it was much stronger than the people who destroyed the stone orb. He understood very well that this kind of stone orb was not a test of how strong the fire was. Even if a person from Nirvana stage were to take the test, no matter how strong the fire was, it would not be able to crack the stone orb without the fire soul. This kind of stone orb was specifically used to test the quality, potential and other factors of an alchemist's flame. The fact that this stone orb could turn into powder in an instant meant that Chen Xiang's flame had an extremely great potential, and the quality was also very high, even higher than those with purple fire soul S. Tong. Pa S. The old man was still shocked. However, he was just shocked at how strong Chen Xiang's flames were, because that didn't mean concocting pills was enough. Seeing that Chen Xiang had such a powerful flame, Fan Yakan shook his head and laughed. I had originally thought that after I fused with the Netherworld Fire Soul, I would have a slight chance of winning, but now it seems. Brother Fan, don't be modest. Chen Xiang laughed. Fan Yakan had fought with Chen Xiang before, so he was very clear about Chen Xiang's skill in pill refining. In his opinion, among the young generation of the Sacred Dan realm, there weren't many who could match him. Let's go. We have to wait for the end of the exam and begin the second round. That's the true start of the alchemy compet. 1 tie-in. Fan Yakan patted Chen Xiang's shoulder. After Chen Xiang and Fan Yakan arrived, the 3 men and 1 woman suddenly walked towards them with vicious expressions. Chen Xiang did not even need to think to know that the 4 people were definitely from the chaotic mountain. Fan Yakan smiled from the side. Brother Shen, this is a compet. 1 tie-in for pill refining. If you want to partic 1 P8 in it to the end, you will have to endure it later. Let's see what happens. If these guys provoke me, I will chop them into pieces even if I have to forfeit the compet. 1 tie-in. Chen Xiang clenched his fists and looked at the few people walking towards him coldly. 3 men and 1 woman from Chaotic Mountain. The lady in the middle was Lin Shi, who had caused quite a commotion when testing the flames. She had merely followed the 3 handsome men dressed in beautiful clothes and walked over. 3 men and 1 woman from Chaotic Mountain. The lady in the middle was Lin Shi, who had caused quite a commotion when testing the flames. She had merely followed the 3 handsome men dressed in beautiful clothes and walked over. I was paying attention just now. The flames of these 3 guys are not any weaker than Lin Shi's. I heard that there is a secret technique in the Chaotic Mountain that can help people cultivate fire soul, and it can even evolve. Fan Yakin condensed his voice into a thread and sent it into Chen Xiang's ears. Only knew that the Fire Divine Palace had a method to swallow the fire soul. If one did not need to fuse with the fire soul and used a secret technique to cultivate it, it would be somewhat hard for him to believe. Chen Xiang, hand over the chaos fire. After the Chaotic Mountain came over, a red-clothed man coldly said, "That kind of arrogant attitude made people feel extremely disgusted." Chen Xiang scoffed, "Don't you know that I killed Lin Yes, Hi Plus and Guo Huaqing?" The red-clothed man laughed disdainfully. "It isn't strange for you to kill Lin Yes, Hi Plus. After all, at that time Lin Yes, Hi Plus was kneeling down to help you chop off your head. As for Guo Huaqing, that was the protective divine light released by the chaos fire when it acknowledged her as its master." Chen Xiang had thought that the people of the Chaotic Mountain did not know about the situation when the chaos fire was accepting a master. From the red-clothed man's words, it was very likely that there were people within the Chaotic Mountain who had already been acknowledged as master by the chaos fire. Just how did you make the chaos fire recognize you as its master? All these years, our Chaotic Mountain has never had anyone. Shi, you talk too much. The red-clothed man immediately shouted at her, causing Chen Xiang to be secretly happy. As long as the other 5 Chaos Fire-s did not recognize him as their master, he would have the chance to take them all and collect the 7 Chaos Fire-s to look at the secrets of the primal chaos realm. Chen Xiang spread out his hands and laughed. "I won't give it to you even if I die. Come and take it if you have the guts." Hearing Chen Xiang's words, the rest of them immediately ran away, while the red-clothed man was also furious. With a low snort, hot air suddenly burst out from his body, and purplish-red flames shot out from his right leg. Double Fire Soul, Red Fire Soul and Purple Fire Soul. Fan Yakin shouted in shock. After Chen Xiang heard this, he was just slightly surprised. His fire soul could be considered a dual fire soul. The fusion of the two was much stronger than this kind of normal fire soul. When everyone saw the red-clothed man's dual-colored flame, they all let out exclamations of admiration and broke out into a flurry of discussion. As for the red-clothed man, his face was also filled with arrogance. "You asked for it yourself." The red-clothed man spoke sinisterly. His thigh that was ignited with purplish-red flames leaped towards Chen Xiang, only to see a dazzling purple-red light appear, transforming into a purple-red Qilin head. With its mouth wide open, roars sounded out, although it was only for a split second, but that stern purple-red Qilin head still lingered in everyone's mind. Chen Xiang never thought that the red-clothed man would be so fierce. Seeing that the Qilin would bite at him, he channeled the fire G.O.D. method, causing a vortex to form inside the fire Dan Tian, spinning fiercely. In a short moment, 1,000,000 spins were created, creating a strange suction force that engulfed the scorching fire energy. On the contrary, it was out of everyone's expectations. This was because after the Qilin head that was emitting the purple-red light made contact with Chen Xiang's body, it was as if it had entered Chen Xiang's body and fused with him. Actually, all of this was completely swallowed by Chen Xiang. As expected of the Qilin leg that's scared of hearing the wind, it's actually so magical, directly drilling into someone else's body, destroying the inside of the enemy. One of them said. Chen Xiang had long heard of the Chaotic Mountain's Qilin divine art. Today, he had finally experienced it. It was indeed very strong. If he did not have the powerful fire soul like the heaven fire soul, he would have been burnt to ashes. One had to know that his body had been tempered in the heart of the earth. Even the immortal's body could not withstand the high temperature. Although the red-clothed man's Qilin divine technique made him feel warm, it was unable to cause any damage to his body. As for Fan Yakin, who was not far from Chen Xiang, he was already sweating profusely. Chen Xiang laughed loudly. "What dogs? Hi+T about the Qilin divine art? I think that you are just bluffing. Show some of your abilities to others." Seeing Chen Xiang mocking and ridiculing them, everyone was dumbfounded. That was the Qilin leg from the genuine Qilin divine arts, just now, known as the 3 legs of the burning immortal. Everyone could truly feel that kind of terrifying heat, but Chen Xiang was completely fine. It made everyone unable to comprehend what he was doing, especially those chaotic mountain-s who understood Qilin legs very well. The elders in charge of the assessment did not stop them, they were just watching from the side. Regardless of who died or lived, it had nothing to do with the sacred dance school. If they interfered and stopped them, the chaotic mountain might even say that they were obstructing them. Being ridiculed by Chen Xiang, the red-clothed man became even angrier. His entire body ignited with purplish-red flames, the scorching qi spread out like a gale as it swept out in all directions, causing everyone to retreat. "How are you going to block?" The red-clothed man shouted out loud and jumped into the air. He somersaulted in the air, and then fell down like a meteor from the heavens. His leg was like a giant red-hot knife as it fiercely slashed down, leaving behind a purple-red afterimage. The kick was as fast as lightning, and when it landed on Chen Xiang's body, it suddenly transformed into a gigantic purple-red claw, with purple-red scales and sharp claws. This was a Qilin claw, and it looked very lifelike, as though it had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. Chen Xiang also didn't manage to react. He had to admit that the red-clothed man's attack just now was extremely fast. From the moment he had jumped, it had only been an instant. That incomparably powerful leg hacked down onto his left shoulder. That wave of energy actually forced him to kneel on one knee. However, the innate qi in his body had already been boiling for a long time, violently SMAs. Hi+ing into each other in his dantian, transforming into an even more terrifying dragon power. After his body was attacked, the dragon power rushed into his limbs and bones, completely wiping out the energy that was rampaging in his body. Boom! Everyone saw that the thigh of the red-clothed man that was on Chen Xiang's shoulder suddenly bent at the knees, causing the red-clothed man to let out a miserable cry. An incomparably terrifying aura emerged from Chen Xiang's shoulder, and that kind of tyrannical energy gushed out. The stones on the ground trembled because of it, and the floor tiles also slowly cracked one after another. It was precisely this kind of power that broke the red-clothed man's thigh. Chen Xiang had used the borrowed force method from the Taiji dragon-suppressed kung fu and combined it with the dragon power to create a burst of energy from his body. It shot out from his shoulder and broke the red-clothed man's legs. The red-clothed man's face twisted in pain. His eyes turned red and anger rose up, making him lose his mind. Now, he just wanted to kill Chen Xiang no matter what. The red-clothed man's face twisted in pain. His eyes turned red and anger rose up, making him lose his mind. Now, he just wanted to kill Chen Xiang no matter what. In the sacred Dan realm, those who could refine pills were not weak. Now, everyone could be considered to have broadened their horizon. Even those old fellows who had entered the nirvana stage felt ashamed. "Kirin, appear!" The man in red shouted out. Suddenly, an enormous illusion of a Qilin appeared behind him. As everyone saw that massive and ferocious illusion of a Qilin, they were overwhelmed with shock and dumbfoundedly stared at it. At this time, Chen Xiang also felt quite a bit of pressure, but the dragon power in his body was boiling and surging, as if it was an angry ocean. This caused his entire body to be filled with terrifying energy. The power of the Qilin. The Qilin image on the red-clothed man's back suddenly sprinted and fiercely flashed into the red-clothed man's arm. The red-clothed man's arm suddenly swelled up and tore apart his sleeve, revealing fierce and terrifying blue veins. Seeing the fist that carried the Qilin's power coming towards him, Chen Xiang felt his body being pushed by an invisible pressure, forcing him to take a few steps back. But he was not willing to be weak. The dragon power in his body suddenly shot out from his body, revealing the illusory image of a huge golden dragon behind him. Seeing this golden dragon, everyone was completely shocked, because this dragon was very large. It had appeared right behind Chen Xiang, releasing a dazzling gold light, as though it had just flown out from the blazing sun. The entire plaza had fallen into a state of panic because of the appearance of this dragon, and unknowingly, everyone could feel the ground around them starting to shake slightly. Chen Xiang roared out explosively as he punched out, meeting the red-clothed man's incoming Qilin fist. At the same time, the golden dragon image behind him let out a dragon's roar that shook the heavens, transforming into a golden beam of light and entering Chen Xiang's fist. The power of the Qilin and the dragon fiercely collided with each other. A blinding golden red light burst out, and a thunderous sound reverberated through the horizon. Ah! The red-clothed man let out an absolutely miserable scream. His arm suddenly dropped, and he fell to the ground. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, and his bloodshot eyes were filled with pain. You? What did you do to me? The red-clothed man's face was filled with fear and fury. My dantian. No, my arm. The power of Chen Xiang's fist just now surged into the red-clothed man's dantian, skillfully wiping away his dantian. As for his arm, he used the bone-melting magic palm, and directly melted away the bones inside. At first, it looked like the two of them were of equal strength, but now Chen Xiang stood there calmly, with his face and heart red. As for the red-clothed man who came out from Chaotic Mountain, he sat on the ground paralyzed, with his dantian and limbs crippled. Chen Xiang laughed coldly. It's because you don't have the capability and you still want to show off. You're the one who asked for it. The words the red-clothed man said earlier were met with Chen Xiang's retaliation. This was truly a great blow and humiliation. The red-clothed man trembled in anger and shouted, "What are you all still standing there for? Quickly take him down. There is no need to be moral in dealing with this kind of villain." The other two men looked at each other and came to a tacit understanding. When one of them suddenly appeared behind Chen Xiang, they actually still wanted to attack Chen Xiang, and it was even 2 against 1. Chen Xiang laughed. "I am a villain? I remember that it was you who attacked me first. Now that you've been beaten to a pulp by me, you can just call me a villain and let your people bully the minority? What bullsh *t Chaotic Mountain, you're just a bully." While talking, a silver order badge appeared in Chen Xiang's hand. The patterns on it were distinct and flickering with a strange light, and this order badge looked like a burning silver flame, as though it was absorbing the light from the silver moon and dancing in the air. A chaos fire, and one that recognized its master. This caused the two people who wanted to take action to immediately stop. They did not know what Chen Xiang wanted to do. "Humph, don't you guys want it? I'll just give it to you guys." Chen Xiang snorted, and actually threw the chaos fire out, towards the man who was in front of him attacking. The man was shocked and hastily extended his hand to receive it. Just as he touched the chaos fire, it suddenly exploded, releasing a ball of flames that was like the moonlight as it covered the man's body. "Ah! Help! Kill me! Quickly kill me and give me a quick death!" When the crowd heard the man scream, they couldn't help but feel their blood run cold. This was a fate worse than death. At this moment, the crowd's beautiful silver flames had a deep fear in them. They were actually able to burn someone to a point where it was better to die than to live. As for Chen Xiang's hand, a ball of silver flames was burning as well, slowly condensing into a command medallion. It was extremely strange, and everyone could tell with a glance that the chaos fire and Chen Xiang had already melded together. Everyone here have seen that I have given you the chaos fire, it is just that you all are unable to afford it, this is none of my business. Chen Xiang tossed and turned the chaos fire in his hands, causing everyone's hearts to jump out of their chests. They were afraid that Chen Xiang would throw this Ned beast at them. The man who was being burned by the silver flames was already lying on the ground, and the silver flames had also slowly disappeared. While the fire was still burning, no one could feel the aura of the fire, not even a little bit of heat. However, from the shout of the man, it seemed that the fire was not like that at all. However, now that the silver flames had been extinguished, the man's body seemed completely unharmed. However, his face was contorted into a hideous expression from the pain, appearing extremely strange. The red-clothed man crawled over and lightly touched the man's body. He saw layers of white ash suddenly fall from his body, causing everyone's scalps to go numb. This man had already been burnt to ashes. Chen Xiang also felt that it was unbelievable, and he sneered in his heart. This is the result of recklessly training the primal chaos flames. This chaos fire only ignited the primal chaos flames hidden within its body, making the primal chaos flames even stronger. It seems like this chaos fire is a great threat to the people of Chaotic Mountain. As long as I want to, I can use the chaos fire to wrap around the primal chaos flames in their bodies. This was also one of the uses of chaos fire, and Chen Xiang only found out about it later when he flipped through the information in his mind. You killed him. The red-clothed man looked at Chen Xiang with a trembling voice. It's you who killed him. The chaos fire only ignited the primal chaos flame in his body. His body would need a period of time to recover. Who told you to touch him? Chen Xiang shrugged and said, what he said was the truth. You. The red-clothed man vomited another mouthful of blood. He was so angry that his entire body was trembling. However, he was already a cripple. Anyone present could slaughter him. 4 from the Chaotic Mountainess. Now that one was dead and one was injured, the remaining 2 people did not have any intention of fighting anymore, because they knew that as long as the chaos fire in Chen Xiang's hands could land on their bodies, they would be the same as the man just now. 4 from the Chaotic Mountainess. Now that one was dead and one was injured, the remaining 2 people did not have any intention of fighting anymore, because they knew that as long as the chaos fire in Chen Xiang's hands could land on their bodies, they would be the same as the man just now. Lin Shi came over to the red-clothed man's side and coldly said, the elder has long said that we cannot act rashly against him. Then, he waved his hand to summon 2 people to help the red-clothed man away. She was worried that Chen Xiang would make a move on her, but Chen Xiang merely smiled at her with no intention to make a move. Chen Xiang also felt that it was enough, but if the people from the Chaotic Mountain still acted against him, he would still not be courteous. Cough, cough, we still need to take the test. Please find somewhere else to settle the grudge between you. An old man said. Chen Xiang kept the chaos fire and went over to Fan Yakan's side and patted him. This scared Fan Yakan to death. What are you afraid of? Chen Xiang laughed involuntarily. I'm afraid of your flame. Your flame is definitely many times stronger than the purple one. Otherwise, it would be impossible for that fellow's purple flames to be useless to you. Fan Yakan said, I'm guessing that your body can definitely withstand the burning of an extremely strong flame. Your own flame is also very strong. Chen Xiang only laughed and did not speak. Fan Yakan was only glad that he did not have the same prestige as Chen Xiang when he was in mortal martial realm. Otherwise, all of his money would have turned into dust. Only 180 people had pass, said the fire test, and the second round of the test was about to begin. Those who pass, said the test, are all pretty hot. Now is the true start of the match. An elder said, Next, I will remove the veil covering the mysterious reward. The crowd immediately burst into cheers. Some of them had already heard that the rewards of this compet 1. Tian were very precious. If you win this year's grand compet 1. Tian, you will receive a bottle of holy water of Qianyang. After the old man made his announcement, the crowd immediately burst into cheers. Fan Yakan exclaimed in surprise, Sacred Dan School has a dried up dry sun sacred pond which has a holy aura floating around all year round. This is a type of energy that is even more powerful than immortal energy, and now that Sacred Dan School can take out the dry sun sacred water, it can be seen that the dried up 9 yang sacred pond has begun to produce the dry sun sacred water. It's said that a drop of 9 yang sacred water contains an energy equivalent to a person absorbing 100 years of immortal energy. If it's just a small bottle, then at least a few dozen drop. That's equivalent to absorbing thousands of years worth of immortal qi in an instant. For someone at our level of strength, this is considered a supreme treasure. The old man waited for everyone to calm down before saying, There are 100 drops of the holy water of Qianyang. If you want them, then all of you should work harder. Next, we will proceed to the second round. Just like the previous sessions, we will have to provide the ingredients and pill furnaces needed to refine the 5 elements Jinyuan Dan. Chen Xiang knew that out of the nearly 200 alchemists present, there was definitely a number of geniuses amongst them. And according to his knowledge, Du Yenyao was just an alchemist who was able to refine a middle-grade ground-level pellet, while Fan Yakan was also able to refine a lower-grade ground level. Therefore, if he wanted to be number 1, not only would he have to master the high-grade profound-level pills, he would also have to refine low or middle-grade ground level S, otherwise he would not be able to contend against those powerful people. The quality of the furnace was considered not bad, which surprised Chen Xiang. If it was a pill furnace that could not be any worse, it would explode after a few rounds of refinement, which made people very depressed. If the pill furnace we used was slightly better, I might have been able to win, Fan Yakan said in a low voice. Chen Xiang laughed. Hee, then let's compete again now. Whoever can take out that bottle of dry sun holy water will win. Fan Yakan shook his head. The later parts of this compet 1. Tian may be unfair to you. At that time, I might have to refine a few earth-grade low-rank Dan S. Fan Yakan was very clear about the bottom line of Chen Xiang's pill refining. Although he admitted that Chen Xiang's talent was very high and was much higher than his, Chen Xiang could only refine one type of high-grade profound-level pellet. In the plaza, 180 young alchemists placed their pill furnaces on the ground, then sat cross-legged on their HI+ons, waiting for the people of Sacred Dan School to divide the ingredients needed to refine 5 elements Jinyuan Dan. To these alchemists, 5 elements Jinyuan Dan S were considered to be low-leveled pellet. When they heard that they were going to use this kind of pellet to decide on the next round, they all scoffed disdainfully and disapproved. However, when they received the ingredients, they all began to complain non-stop, and under a lot of pressure. After Chen Xiang received the medicinal herbs, he was also startled, because these medicinal herbs were very, very rotten, and some were even withered to death before they matured. For example, the 5-leaf GRAS only had 4 leaves, and the colorless Ganoderma had a bite mark on it. However, these medicinal ingredients could produce spirit energy and medicine powder, and could still condense pellet. Chen Xiang did not even remember how many batches of 5 elements Jinyuan Dan he had refined, so he could only give a light smile in response to this. Looks like I can get at least 7 pills, but I need some time, Chen Xiang estimated silently as he looked at the medicinal herbs. It had not started yet, so he could still not process the medicinal herbs. After everyone received the medicinal ingredients, the old man announced the start of the battle. The match has begun. I believe everyone has heard of it. In this trial, we will give you all a little more test. Please prepare yourselves. As Chen Xiang processed the medicinal herbs, He looked forward to the mysterious test. Fan Yakin had also mentioned it before. At the start of the compet. 1. Tie-in, everyone busily processed the herbs, removing the ones on the stage that no one was there. This was because they were all rotten things, and in order to obtain more medicine aura-s and medicinal powders, they were all very careful and did not dare to cut them off. When Chen Xiang first laid eyes on those medicinal herbs, he had already started to think about how to refine and process them, so his movements were fluid and smooth. With one breath, he was the one who started the fire. This Chen Xiang of mysterious origins is actually so powerful in terms of alchemy. He is actually the first to start a fire. The elder that presided over the compet. 1. Tian shouted. He was actually explaining. Everyone has seen his savage strength and fearsome reputation. Let's see what his pill refining level is like now. Since he is the first one to start a fire, we must give him a big gift. Chen Xiang's eyebrows twitched. He had a premonition that something bad was about to happen to him. After hearing the old man's words, the crowd immediately looked forward to it. They could hear the meaning behind his words. The so-called great gift was very possibly the mysterious and deceptive test. The pill refining compet. Tie-in was held in the middle of a square. There was a circle around, allowing all the alchemists to sit inside to refine pills, while everyone could watch from the side. The pill refining compet. 1. Tie-in was held in the middle of a square. There was a circle around, allowing all the alchemists to sit inside to refine pills, while everyone could watch from the side. There were a lot of alchemists, even if they were not alchemists themselves, they would still be very interested in the pill refining compet. 1. Tie-in. Many warriors, in order to obtain a good alchemist, would have a very good understanding of pill refining knowledge. This not only allowed them to differentiate the pill refining level of an alchemist, but also allowed them to discuss it with the alchemist. When everyone saw Chen Xiang handling those medicinal herbs so quickly, they knew that Chen Xiang's foundation was extremely solid. The second person who started the fire was an unlucky descendant from the Fan family. This little guy just dug the ancestral grave and obtained the Fan family's famous fire soul. In order to atone for his sins, the clan let him go and sent him to Partik. 1. P8 in the pill refining compet. 1. Tie-in, but even if he does not take first place, the Fan family will not be able to do anything to him. The old man's loud voice echoed in the plaza, making Fan Yakin go crazy. He wanted to fill the old man's mouth with cow dung. Only those who start a fire for the first time get a reward? No, everyone else will have a share, but the prize for first place will be a little better. After the old man laughed, he shouted, Chen Xiang's reward is here. Everyone immediately let out exclamations of surprise, because they saw a graceful purple figure floating down from the top of the auction place. Looking at the Blee and dignified purple attire, everyone knew that it was Zilan Immortal Fairy. Yen Xilan smiled charmingly. Her refined temperament seemed to have become completely natural, as if a purple orchid was slowly falling from the sky onto the arena. Zilan Immortal Fairy, you should have seen that little ghost before. Go encourage him and have him refine pills properly. This was not to encourage them, but to harm them so that they could focus on refining pills. Of course, many people were extremely envious of Chen Xiang. To be harmed by such a peerless goddess, even death would be worth it. Chen Xiang was also cursing the old man in his heart, but he was not worried at all. He thought that the mysterious reward would bring him trouble, but now, even if Yen Xilan took off all his clothes by his side, he could still appreciate it and concoct pills at the same time. The gentle smile on Yen Xilan's face suddenly became mesmerizing. Twisting her willow-like waist, she slowly walked to Chen Xiang's side and elegantly sat on the empty cuz. on. When Yen Xilan and Chen Xiang were so close together, some of the male animals gritted their teeth as hatred surged in their hearts. They wanted nothing more than to beat Chen Xiang up into a pig's head, yet he was able to stay so close to their G.O.D.s. Chen Xiang had no choice but to turn his head and look at the charming and beautiful woman. At the same time, Yan Xilan also looked at him. "Young Master Shin, you have to refine pills well." Yan Xilan's mouth was emitting an orchid-like fragrance. Looking at that alluring and delicious mouth, Chen Xiang wanted to stick his head in and suck on it, but he knew that if he did that, the males watching the compet 1. Tian would definitely throw smelly shoes at him. The relations Hi+P between Chen Xiang and Yan Xilan had always been good, and Chen Xiang had even carried her before. He had been together with her on her bed for a while, and with Chen Xiang's strong self-control, this was only a good thing for him. However, he didn't expect that the usually n.o.bly and dignified mature beauty would be so fatally afraid of such a coquettish posture. It made people want to give up and wish that they could subdue her. What was hateful was that not only did Chen Xiang not explode his furnace, but he actually started to chat happily with Yan Xilan, and Yan Xilan even occasionally let out a flattering, sweet laugh. Chen Xiang did not explode, but the 10 or so guys around Chen Xiang were all FLUs. Teared by his flirtatious attitude as the pill furnaces exploded one after another, causing Chen Xiang to burst out laughing. I never thought that Chen Xiang's self-control would be so astonishing, and that he would even have such an impeccable tongue, to actually make the #1 beauty of the sacred Dan realm smile brilliantly, but the 10 people beside him did not have his self-control, and were completely distracted by the Zilon immortal fairy, unable to calmly concoct pills, and finally quitting the compet 1. Tian like a furnace exploding. As the old man loudly narrated the situation of the match, he was secretly surprised. "Now all of the alchemists have started a fire. Your big gifts have arrived. Enjoy it, youngsters," Yan Xilan said with a low laugh. "Did elder sister not have enough skill to make a furnace out of you?" Chen Xiang laughed. "If you strip naked it might be able to affect me a little." Yan Xilan smiled sweetly. "You wish. But you have to be careful, there are still even more powerful people coming." Yan Xilan stood up, and with a light leap, he flew away. The people around were suddenly spirited, because they saw many women dressed in transparent clothes, young and beautiful, with skin as white as snow, their figures graceful as snow flying over. When the 30+ women's jade feet stepped onto the arena stage, the entire arena was silent, and then the sound of gulping could be heard. The 30 women were extremely beautiful. They were tall, had curves in the air, and the most frightening thing was that they were all wearing clothes as thin as cicadas' wings. Their snow-white, jade-like bodies could clearly be seen. Her snow-white, slender, beautiful legs, slender jade waist, and smooth as jade, they were all separated by a thin dress and revealed in front of the crowd. There were 30 beauties with the surname of Xie, and all the men present were burning with passion, causing the temperature of the entire plaza to suddenly soar. It was even higher than the fire produced by the alchemist. They were originally here to watch the compet 1. Tian, but now everyone's attention was on these girls. Moreover, they were all staring at the chests and legs of those young girls. The most terrifying thing was that these women actually had smiles on their faces. They let out flirtatious moans and began to dance about in a very coquettish manner. The entire martial field also emitted a series of explosions. In just a short moment, dozens of pill furnaces exploded. This sacred dance school is too reckless. Chen Xiang's ears resonated with that soulless n.a.t.c. Hing moan as his mind rippled. Su Meiyao scoffed, "Too shameless. He actually used such a bewitching technique to confuse others' minds." The jade body was faintly discernible under the gauze dress, and it was even more captivating. The seductive dance was accompanied by a series of high-pitched and low-pitched groans, causing many pill furnaces on the stage to explode one after another. There were only 50 or 60 people still competing on the stage. The young beauties who were dancing had already retreated. The males who were watching the compet Tian were already full of eyes, and they hoped to see a little more. There were only 50 or 60 people still competing on the stage. The young beauties who were dancing had already retreated. The males who were watching the compet Tian were already full of eyes, and they hoped to see a little more. However, this made it difficult for the alchemists who had insufficient mental fortitude because they had been eliminated hatefully. Originally, we only wanted some beauties to cheer everyone up and ease this boring pill refining compet Tian. However, we never expected that so many little fellows would feel so regretful. As for the remaining people, you should thank me for helping you eliminate a large number of your compet tours. The old man laughed sinisterly, causing the eliminated alchemists to grit their teeth in anger. They wanted nothing more than to throw a brick at him and smash apart all of his remaining teeth. To most of the alchemists present, refining a 5 elements Jinyuan Dan was not difficult, but right now they were all using very inferior quality medicinal ingredients. Furthermore, they were not very satisfied with the quality of the furnace, as it was very inconvenient for them to use, affecting their performance. This was the rule for his refining, but he had already refined it very smoothly, and had already reached the middle stage. All the medicinal ingredients were incinerated, and after the medicinal ingredients were incinerated, he separated the unique medicine aura and the medicinal powders that did not contain any impurities. As long as he combined them together, he could enter the final stage of pill condensation. In this regard, he was far ahead of the others. In the charm storm, only Chen Xiang and that Lin Shi were not affected. Although the others had not exploded, they had more or less been affected. In the sacred Dan realm, there were very few girls who could refine pills, so these kind of girls were the targets of the disciples from famous sections. When he was in the mortal martial realm, Chen Xiang had already known about the 2 famous female alchemists, Hua Xiangyue and Elder Dan. However, after he had been in the sacred Dan realm for a while, he had yet to hear about any famous female alchemist master. Only Du Yenyao was famous, but she only received attention and did not reach the stage where she was respected, so she could not be considered as one. Yan Xilan suddenly appeared again, flying over from afar. Only someone of her level would dare to casually fly about in the sacred Dan city. The next compet Tian will be hosted by Purple Orchid. Everyone, please cooperate and remain quiet so that alchemist can refine pills quietly. Yan Xilan laughed indifferently, attracting the gazes of many people. Seeing that the old man who owed a beating had left, the alchemists that were partic aiding in the tournament all sent him off with the most malicious curses in their hearts, especially those alchemists that were eliminated. Originally, they still had some hope of obtaining the holy water of Qianyang, but after being disrupted by that Ned great gift, many people were eliminated. However, this was a test for them, so they could only blame themselves for not being strong enough. The entire arena fell into silence as everyone waited for the result. Something's wrong, be careful. Long Shui suddenly shouted. At the same time, Yan Xilan turned into a purple shadow, flying straight towards Chen Xiang like lightning. She waved her hand, releasing a purple innate qi, dispersing the qi that was attacking Chen Xiang. Although Yan Xilan blocked the powerful force, Chen Xiang still felt a wave of innate qi that was mixed with lightning and flames heading towards him. His pill furnace was also affected and had a few cracks on it. How dare you! Yan Xilan stood behind him and shouted loudly. A middle-aged man suddenly appeared in the middle of the arena and coldly said, "He let my son die, one injured. Today, I will definitely kill him and take revenge." Just a moment ago, Chen Xiang and the Chaotic Mountains people had clashed, causing one person to die and one person to be injured. This was something that everyone knew, but now that someone had come looking for them, it was obvious that they were from the Chaotic Mountain. Yen Xilan had done her a great favor. Even if Sacred Dance School didn't care, she would still take it over. This is a pill refining compet. 1. Tie-in organized by our Sacred Dance School. No one is allowed to disrupt the compet. 1. Tie-in, your 2 sons were the first to fight. They were the ones who were weaker, one died and one was injured. As their father, you are very powerful, yet you dare to do this to someone of the younger generation. Do you think that your chaotic mountain is shameless? Yen Xilan's sharp words made the middle-aged man unable to refute him for a moment. However, the middle-aged man was still furious. No matter what, I have to take revenge. If you insist on taking Chen Xiang down right now, then our Sacred Dance School will definitely not sit by and do nothing. Yes. Hi plus Long appeared, and stood on the high platform of the arena. Looking at the few people in the crowd, he could tell with a single glance that all of them were strong rankers from the Chaotic Mountain, with their strength being on par with him. Sacred Dance School's leader had already appeared, and even said something like that. Chaotic Mountain couldn't afford to clash with Sacred Dance School right now, so he could only endure. Alright, after the compet. 1. Tie-in, it will be time for Chen Xiang to die. The middle-aged man threw down those harsh words, then leaped up and left the arena. Chen Xiang heaved a sigh of relief, and everyone was impressed by his calmness. When he was burning his eyebrows, he was actually able to focus on concocting pills, and stabilize the pill furnace that was about to be destroyed. The cracks on top of the pill furnace were clearly visible, and there were some cracks on the floor beneath the furnace. It was obvious that the cracks were caused by the attack of the Chaotic Mountain. Just then, Lin Shi shouted, "I've completed it." Chen Xiang noted that she had successfully refined 5 elements Jinyuan Dan, and those were of high quality. This meant that she could enter the next round, and only 20 people could enter the next round. Chen Xiang, your furnace is damaged because of what happened just now. We couldn't protect you well, so the only thing we can do is to give you a new furnace and a new set of high-quality herbs so that you can start concocting again. However, we might not make it in time. Yes. Hi plus Long said. He saw that Chen Xiang was still able to refine pills as calm as a mountain, and had the demeanor of a great family. He sighed inwardly. Chen Xiang said indifferently, "No need. Even if he tried again, it would be too late. As long as more than 20 people refined a 5 elements Jinyuan Dan, he would not be able to enter the next round. Looks like I can only use the furnace exchange." Chen Xiang thought in his heart. Last time he fought with Fan Yakan, he had succeeded in this exact same method. Now, another person had finished refining it. If not for the effect from just now, Chen Xiang would have already completed it. And now, in order to stabilize the furnace, he had no choice but to slow down. Fan Yakan was the second to complete it after Lin Shi, so he was not the least bit worried about Chen Xiang. Furthermore, he was looking forward to Chen Xiang's shocking consummate skill, and when he saw that more and more cracks appeared on Chen Xiang's pill furnace, he became slightly excited, because he knew that he would soon be able to see that ultimate skill. Chen Xiang's pill refining furnace shook violently. More and more cracks appeared, and flames were spewing out of them. The energy within was extremely tyrannical, and everyone was on tenterhooks, waiting for the moment he would explode. Chen Xiang's pill refining furnace shook violently. More and more cracks appeared, and flames were spewing out of them. The energy within was extremely tyrannical, and everyone was on tenterhooks, waiting for the moment he would explode. Yen Xilan frowned, gritted her teeth, and sent a sound transmission to Chen Xiang. "I'll take you away later, there's no need to worry." Once Chen Xiang failed, it would mean that he had to withdraw from the compet. 1 Tian. At that time, the people from Chaotic Mountain would also take action, so Yen Xilan had to stand by his side the entire time just to protect Chen Xiang. With regards to the matter of the Chaotic Mountain's people suddenly hating him, Chen Xiang only kept it in his heart. Right now, he did not have the mind to bother about it. He was calculating the time, making good use of the time to change the furnace. Yen Xilan suddenly felt a wave of spirit power, because she was also a cultivator of the divine way, and Chen Xiang was unrestrainedly releasing it. She knew that it was spirit power, and it was extremely dense. She never expected Chen Xiang to have such a strong spirit power with his strength. But she was very suspicious. She didn't know what Chen Xiang wanted to do. Chen Xiang had obviously released his Fa Li in order to condense it into a magic method furnace. Just as Yen Xilan felt the Fa Li, a weak gust of hot air suddenly attacked him, causing a boom sound. Chen Xiang's pill furnace suddenly exploded, stirring up a cloud of dust. Looking at the pile of dust in front of Chen Xiang, everyone let out a sigh of regret, and the people from the chaotic mountain were also waiting for Chen Xiang to leave the venue. Just as everyone was feeling sorry for Chen Xiang, an incomparably dazzling multicolored light shot out from the dust. As long as it was an alchemist, they all knew very well what this multicolored light was. Seeing this, Fan Yakin heaved a sigh of relief, but he secretly exclaimed in his heart, although he had already seen it once, he was already stunned. Chen Xiang blew away the dust. The piercing five-colored light became even brighter, enveloping the entire compet. 1. Tian grounds. 5 types of multicolored light twined inside Chen Xiang's magic method furnace, and like glue, they formed into a ball of rainbow-colored air, shooting out 5 types of glaring red light, as if they were miniature suns that could release 5 types of light. Chen Xiang had already reached the stage of fusing all of the medicine aura and medicinal powders together, and this was also the most crucial moment. During the fusing period, all sorts of medicine aura, due to their mutual repulsion, appeared extremely tyrannical, causing the light they emitted to become even more intense. Seeing this scene, no one even blinked their eyes, appreciating this peerlessly beautiful scene. At the same time, they were also secretly surprised in their hearts. Just what did Chen Xiang do? Amongst the people present, only Yen Xilan knew that Chen Xiang had used the spatial transformation within the 72 changes to create a transparent pill furnace and concoct pills inside. Although she could see this, she was still shocked by it and was captivated by it. As for the alchemist S, they were all staring at the ball of air inside the transparent pill furnace. Because this ball of air was very big, it meant that Chen Xiang had a lot of pills. When suppressing the multicolored ball of air, Chen Xiang felt very relaxed, because he had used his mana. Very quickly, he fused the 5 medicine aura S and the medicinal powder together, and in that instant, they released an even more dazzling multicolored light, which was then quickly split by Chen Xiang into 7 small B, A, L, S of air. It was actually 7 pills. If he had used undamaged medicinal ingredients to refine, Chen Xiang could refine 10 pills, but the majority of the other alchemist S only had 8. In the eyes of the alchemist S, Chen Xiang had neared the perfect number of pills he would produce. Very quickly, Chen Xiang's transparent pill concocting furnace condensed 7 transparent pills, their final form after the fusion of the 5 types of light. Yes. Hi plus Long and Yen Xilan were both here. The 5 elements Jinyuan Dan that Chen Xiang had refined were all of high quality that they had appraised. Especially those people from the chaotic mountain, they didn't only want to capture Chen Xiang, they also wanted to force Chen Xiang to hand over the chaos fire. Heaved a sigh of relief. Just now, she was already prepared to take Chen Xiang and escape, but she did not expect Chen Xiang to actually use such a miraculous consummate skill. Chen Xiang was the 15th person to refine a 5 elements Jinyuan Dan, and he had already successfully entered the next round. At this time, he was also secretly cursing Du Hai as well, as he still hadn't helped him settle those chaotic mountain people after so many days, causing him to almost lose his life just now. Are these guys forcing me to use that second chaos fire? Chen Xiang was furious in his heart. If the compet 1. Tian ended and the people from the chaotic mountain surrounded him, he would definitely use the second chaos fire. Now, everyone knew that not only was Chen Xiang's strength ferocious, his pill refining skills were also exceptional. They also understood why he was able to become Du Yinyao's fiancé. Chen Xiang took out another pill furnace. This was a little better than the magic method furnace, after all. He did not know what kind of cruel compet. 1. Tian would follow after. I never thought that there would be someone in the sacred Dan realm with a dragon fire soul. This guy is very shrewd. He is still concocting pills, but he must be slowing down on purpose. As Long Shui said this, Chen Xiang immediately looked towards the person she was referring to. It was a handsome man who somewhat resembled CS. Hi plus Long. Fan Yakan was also looking at the man. Chen Xiang nudged him and asked, "Who is that?" "One of CS. Hi plus Long's most prized grandson, Xian Anfeng. Although the fire soul is mysterious, it is very strong and normally keeps a low profile and rarely comes out to travel. He has a high talent for alchemy, and I heard that he is one of the few people who can compete against the geniuses in Chaotic Mountain." Fan Yakan said. Chen Xiang also noticed that both Lin Shi and the other man from the Chaotic Mountain were ranked at the top of the rankings for the third round. He had previously heard that the people from the Chaotic Mountain were very good at refining pills, so Du Hai had learned from them before. There should be a pill sage within the Chaotic Mountain. It is the birthplace of the alchemy civilization, so for the people that came from, it is not surprising that their alchemy skills are powerful. That Lin Shi is very powerful. Fan Yakan continued. The round had ended. Xian Nanfeng had entered the next round as the 20th place, and seeing his calm expression, he knew that he had done it on purpose. Such a person was truly not bad, and CS. Hi plus Long also nodded with satisfaction and smiled towards his grandson. Next is the third round. This third round can be said to be linked with the fourth round, which is to ask everyone to use the fastest speed to refine 3 high-grade profound-level pills. As long as you refine these 3 high-grade profound-level pills, you will be able to exchange them for the ingredients for the Earth-grade low-rank danas from me. Yen Xilan smiled lightly. And I only have 3 sets of 9 quenching body dan's medicinal ingredients here. Which is to say, out of the 20 of you, only 3 of you can obtain the 4th round's medicinal ingredients from me. After Chen Xiang found out about the pill refining compet. Tian, he felt quite a bit of pressure, but he wasn't afraid of it at all. This was a good opportunity for him to level up, as it would allow him to gain experience in using foreseeing alchemy. After Chen Xiang found out about the pill refining compet. Tian, he felt quite a bit of pressure, but he wasn't afraid of it at all. This was a good opportunity for him to level up, as it would allow him to gain experience in using foreseeing alchemy. The victory of the best refined 9 quenching body dan is determined by the quality and the number of pills produced, and the time limit is only today. Yen Xilan continued to explain the rules. Out of the 20, only 3 of them were qualified to refine 9 quenching body dan, which made everyone feel quite a bit of pressure. In order to let everyone understand the rules, Yen Xilan said again, among these people, the one with the greatest pressure was probably Chen Xiang, because until now, he only knew how to refine a high-grade profound-level pill. If he wanted to obtain the final victory in the compet. Tian, he would have to concoct many different kinds of pills that he had never refined before, and he had to succeed for sure. The foreseeing alchemy was created to allow alchemists to succeed in refining a rare medicinal ingredient. In order to use the foreseeing alchemy well, one had to refine many different kinds of pills that had never been refined before. The 3 high-grade profound-level pills that you are refining are Dinghun Danas, Small Shaping Danas, and Profound Yang Fire Danas. We will provide the medicinal ingredients, and in order to better test your alchemy standards, the quality of the medicinal ingredients will be slightly lower. Even though Yen Xilan said this, everyone could guess that it was definitely as bad as the 5 elements Zhenyu and Dan's medicinal herbs that were just now. In the sacred Dan school's eyes, these rotten herbs had no value at all. Even if they were 9 quenching body danas, they could still be used for auction if they were in the mortal martial realm. Not long after, it confirmed everyone's thoughts. Those medicinal ingredients were indeed very rotten, to the point of making people curse the sacred Dan school, but it was indeed a very challenging method. If he were to refine the perfect medicinal ingredients, wouldn't the compet 1. Tian be boring? The moment Yen Xilan announced the start of the process, Chen Xiang immediately began to process the profound Yang Fire Dan's medicinal ingredient. His movements were crisp and smooth. He had refined profound Yang Fire Dan quite a few times before, thus it was extremely easy for him. However, there was someone who was faster than him. That was CS. Hi plus Long's grandson, Xian Anfeng, and the Lin Shi who came out of Chaotic Mountain. They had all started a fire at the same time and started refining pills. There were only 3 spots available, and only the 3 people who concocted pills the fastest would be able to obtain one. Therefore, everyone had to make the best use of their time, not asking for quality nor quant. 1. Tie of pills, but only for speed and success. At noon, the sun was scorching and the land was steaming, but in alchemists' eyes, this kind of heat was nothing. The first person to refine the pill was Chen Xiang, and what was unexpected was that Chen Xiang actually refined 4 profound Yang Fire Dan. Under normal circumstances, 4 pellets being refined was already the limit for many alchemists, but Chen Xiang could still use rotten medicine to refine them, and everyone could see, if Chen Xiang used perfect medicine, then he could probably concoct 5 pellets. Although the difference was 1 pellet, when it came to high-leveled pellets, 1 more pellet would bring about an additional, and the benefits could be imagined. In this kind of compet 1. Tian, Chen Xiang still treated the ingredients like they would normally, and did not waste any medicinal ingredients, ensuring the quality of the medicinal pellet. This fact made many alchemists secretly admire. This kind of attitude was very precious. It was the kind of respect alchemists had for the medicinal ingredients, giving them the best home. Looking at the 4 glittering pills, some of the old alchemists on the stage felt deep veneration for Chen Xiang. This was because this was the spirit that alchemists should have, at least it was forgotten in the end. Look at them. They are all concocting pills for the sake of obtaining the holy water of Qianyang, but Chen Xiang is concocting pills for the sake of concocting pills. He has already blended himself into the realm of concocting pills. I'm afraid that he is not thinking of winning right now, but only thinking of using the best ingredients to the best of his abilities. Yen Xilan said unhurriedly, staring at the fully focused Chen Xiang. Yes, Hi plus Long nodded his head. That's right, this is a pill refining compet. 1. Tian, and our rules do not set a requirement for the quant. 1. Tie of quality, so not many people would follow this requirement. They only thought that these are all rotten herbs. As long as they can concoct pills and win, it would be urgent. Yen Xilan smiled and said, It seems like in terms of pill refining skills, many of the old alchemists cannot compare. Yes. Hi plus Long self-deprecatingly laughed. When Alchemist was young, he was always eager for quick success and quick wins. But when he gets old, he actually pursued a pill-refining attitude like Chen Xiang did, but by then, it was already a little too late. Many of the Partic 1p aiding alchemists secretly mocked Chen Xiang, who was actually so focused on refining such a high-quality pellet, and even so many of them. But in the eyes of some of the younger alchemists, Chen Xiang viewed this process as a form of experiential learning. Fan Yakan had only refined a profound Yang Fire Dan. Compared to Chen Xiang, he felt that he was inferior, because Chen Xiang had guaranteed his speed, quant. 1. Tian quality. To be able to do this, it meant that Chen Xiang had always done this for pill refining. This was already a type of habit, but for alchemist, this was a good habit. Small shaping Dan, the difficulty isn't too high, you should be able to deal with them. At that time, the Dinghun Dan will be more difficult to deal with. Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang had already dealt with the small shaping Dan. Even though it was a medicinal ingredient that was already rotten, he still had to do his best to refine it. Even in a nervous atmosphere, he still maintained a calm heart. The ginseng spirit fruit is rather weak and a little rotten. When you refine it, you must believe that the muscle bone GRAS and the human blood mystical ginseng are rather difficult to deal with. The fire force needs to be raised a little. Su Meiyao warned. These three were the main ingredients, so there were no problems with the other tattered supplementary ingredient. Chen Xiang could easily deal with them. The spirit ginseng spirit fruit was like a small baby, just that one of its legs was gone, and the muscle bone GRAS could not only refine a small shaping Dan, but it could also make a human's bones, and the human blood ginseng, this kind of ginseng, contained a large amount of blood essence. It was the same with the humans. Chen Xiang had all three types of medicinal herbs, and they were all obtained in the first profound realm. Chen Xiang had already put the ingredients in the pill furnace, and only a small number of people had just finished concocting the first batch. During Chen Xiang's second batch, he was still in the lead. Of course, Chen Xiang had only wanted to buy more time before this, to give himself more time to concoct the two unfamiliar high-grade profound-level pills. The pill furnaces used to partic 1 P8 in the compet 1 Tian were all the same, the ingredients used were all also terrible, and right now, he was refining a high-grade profound-level pill, which took a bit more time. After 4 hours, there was finally someone who managed to concoct a second batch, and that person was Xian Anfeng. Immediately after, Fan Yakan and Lin Shi also opened the lid, and each took out a small shaping Dan. Normally, small shaping Dan would produce only one pellet. Although it was easy to refine, it was extremely difficult to refine one pellet using broken ingredients. These alchemists were easy to refine. From the aspect of difficulty, profound Yang Fire Dan were harder to refine than small shaping Dan, but because of the medicinal ingredients, small shaping Dan were harder to refine than profound Yang Fire Dan. These alchemists were easy to refine. From the aspect of difficulty, profound Yang Fire Dan were harder to refine than small shaping Dan, but because of the medicinal ingredients, small shaping Dan were harder to refine than profound Yang Fire Dan. Chen Xiang, who had always been leading the way, was actually lagging behind many others. This made people suspicious, but when they saw his sweating face, many of the old alchemists could see something. Looking at his appearance, could it be that this is his first time refining such a pill and using the foreseeing alchemy to such an extent? An old man said. As long as one used the foreseeing alchemy to refine a stranger's pill, it would usually be extremely strenuous, because it would consume a lot of energy. Right now, Chen Xiang's mind was concocting a congealed pellet. And the moment an error occurred, the furnace would explode in his mind, and he would discover the mistake in time to correct it before continuing the concoction. This was often repeated many times, and one had to be extremely fast. If one didn't correct their mistakes in time, the furnace would explode. The difficulty of refining this small shaping Dan is not difficult at all. Chen Xiang opened his eyes and let out a long sigh. He opened the lid of the pill furnace and took out 2 pills that were as red as blood. It was actually 2 pills. Seeing that color, many people could tell that it was of high quality. Many people could not understand why Chen Xiang was still pursuing his limits in this situation, and why he was so serious about it even though it was his first time refining it. What they didn't know was that Chen Xiang's subconscious would never allow him to refine pills carelessly. Furthermore, in his eyes, concocting pills with low quality or quant. 1. Tai was the same as concocting pills perfectly. Chen Xiang took his time to process the Dinghun Dan's medicinal herbs. Looking at him, he did not care about winning or losing at all, but viewed refining pills as a matter of great pleasure, one that was completely immersed in the process of refining pills, and one that received happiness from it. This was a kind of realm, only those who wholeheartedly refined pills would be able to reach this realm, and it was also a realm that many old alchemists only started chasing after when they were old, and this realm would greatly increase for the alchemist. The more it was like this, the more terrifying it was. Although Fan Yakan, Lin Shi and Xian Nanfeng, the three geniuses were far ahead of them, they still felt a strange pressure, and this pressure was all coming from Chen Xiang. When they saw Chen Xiang handling the Dinghun Dan's medicinal ingredients, his movements were very rough, and everyone could see that Chen Xiang had never refined a Dinghun Dan before. Anyone who knew about pill refining would know that Chen Xiang was challenging his limits and was constantly surpassing it. He actually treated this compet 1. Tian as his own experience, which was why he was willing to wholeheartedly refine pills. This was because this kind of extreme result was far more important than the holy water of Qianyang. For example, that 9 quenching body Dan, if they lost to Chen Xiang in this compet 1. Tian, then that would not be a normal loss but a complete loss, because Chen Xiang had never refined these pills before. That was why Fan Yakan and the others felt an inexplicable sense of pressure. If they lost here, then it would be extremely embarrassing for them if they lost, and even if Chen Xiang lost, no one would laugh at him. After a person dies, their soul will dissipate and leave their body. But after eating the Dinghun Dan, he can stabilize his soul for a period of time, and after using the soul resurrection technique, he can resurrect a person, or he can consume a pill that can bring a person back to life and revive them. This kind of pill could also be considered a life-saving pill, especially for some people when they were cultivating, their souls would be affected, making it easy for one's cultivation to go berserk, causing their soul to suffer injuries. However, if one consumed a Dinghun Dan, they would live in peace for a long time. The main ingredients are only the soul lock GRASS and the calming flower. As long as you can overcome this difficulty, the most difficult part of the 2 ingredients are the backlash and being able to follow his consciousness to attack your soul. Especially when it's being burned by the flames, it can even affect your fire soul. With Su Meiyao's guidance, it made it easier for Chen Xiang to refine pills, but it was just experience. If he wanted to succeed, he had to experience it for himself. Long Shui said, "If your spirit power is insufficient, I can use that dragon pearl to channel some energy for you. That dragon pearl still has a lot of energy. We'll talk about it later." Chen Xiang threw all the ingredients into the pill furnace. He was the slowest one in the 3rd furnace. However, everyone knew that the Dinghun Dan was not easy to refine, so even for someone with some experience, if they were slightly careless while refining it, their soul would be attacked. The pain was something that many old alchemists were afraid of, so once they were affected by the backlash of the 2 main ingredients, it would basically mean that they had failed. Not long after it started, Chen Xiang heard a scream. One of the pill furnaces had exploded, and the person was rolling and howling on the ground, when an old man suddenly came to his side, fed him a pill and then left the compet. 1. Tian grounds. As long as it's the first time, even the soul can't avoid being attacked. It seems like Chen Xiang is going to fail here. Yes. Hi plus Long said, and thought back to the first time he refined it, which still left a lingering fear in his heart. Chen Xiang had already set fire to the medicinal herbs, but he could already feel a strange and tyrannical power wreaking havoc on the pill furnace, causing it to shake. I'm afraid that it would be difficult to practice the soul-attacking power changes with the foreseeing alchemy. In order to refine Dinghun Dan, one has to rely on experience. Yes, Hi plus Long laughed. He felt that he would see Chen Xiang rolling and howling on the ground very soon. Just as C.S. H.I. plus Long had said, the power released by the soul calming GRAS and the calming flower was extremely hard to fathom. If one did not have a fixed pattern of power, it would be difficult to use the foreseeing alchemy. However, Chen Xiang's foreseeing alchemy had already achieved a breakthrough long ago, so he could observe the changes in the energy at a very careful rate. Although there was no pattern to the changes, but when the changes were extremely slow in Chen Xiang's eyes, he had a way to merge the energy into the purple-red foreseeing alchemy and correct the mistakes that would occur. In just an hour, 5 people had their souls attacked by the medicinal herbs and had no choice but to withdraw. What made many alchemists surprised was that Chen Xiang's first time refining a Dinghundan bird was actually longer than others, and had completely overturned the knowledge of many alchemists. One must know that most people were tortured to death the first time they refined it. C.R.A.P. Chen Xiang could not help but shout out, following that he let out a low roar, and his pill-refining furnace started shaking frantically. The thing that everyone was looking forward to finally happened. Seeing Chen Xiang act this way, they were sure that Chen Xiang had failed, but the shaking pill furnace suddenly stabilized. Seeing Chen Xiang's pain, he knew that he was enduring it from the inside of his soul. Even so, he was unwilling to give up, and he stabilized his pill furnace, preventing it from exploding. Chen Xiang did not fail. But on the edge of failure, towards his kind of endurance, the Dinghundan alchemist who had refined before, they were incomparably impressed. It was because they knew that if they had to endure the pain while stabilizing the furnace, it was impossible for them to continue concocting pills. Chen Xiang did not fail. But on the edge of failure, towards his kind of endurance, the Dinghundan alchemist who had refined before, they were incomparably impressed. It was because they knew that if they had to endure the pain while stabilizing the furnace, it was impossible for them to continue concocting pills. But now, someone had done it. After walking over the years, the pain that Chen Xiang had endured was something that he could endure with a Stonies H.I. plus ing endurance, and also something that he had endured from the pain of his soul. And the pain of being counterattacked by the power of medicinal herbs was simply nothing compared to the pain he had endured in the past. A mere plant wants to steal my soul? You're courting death. Chen Xiang was infuriated as the soul in his sea of consciousness suddenly opened his eyes. A bizarre soul force flowed through his entire body, devouring all of the soul attack energy that entered his body. Seeing Chen Xiang's expression soften, everyone was shocked, because without pills it was difficult to dispel the pain. However, Yen Xilan was able to do it after being separated by a short while, which made people puzzled. However, Yen Xilan was able to guess something. She knew that Chen Xiang was the same as her. He had a powerful divine soul, and Chen Xiang knew the spirit cultivation method, so the soul attacks of the flowers and plants could not do anything to him. Humph, not much. Chen Xiang released his power and poured it into the pill furnace, suppressing all of the power that wanted to attack his soul. As long as he could deal with all of the power that knew how to counterattack and attack his soul, it would be much easier. Fan Yakan suddenly said, "I'm finally done." He held 3 high-rank profound-level pills and walked in front of Yen Xilan, exchanging them for the 9 quenching body Dan's medicinal ingredients. These were the perfect ingredients, so when judging victory or defeat, it would depend on the quality and the amount of pills that came out. There were only 2 out of the 3 9 quenching body Dan's left, but Lin Shi and Xian Anfeng were slightly ahead of him. Although they did not manage to refine any Dinghundan, everyone thought that the 2 ingredients were theirs. Was it too late for Chen Xiang? After overcoming the backlash of the soul fixation GRAS and the calming flower, Chen Xiang's speed suddenly increased. Right now, he felt that it was as easy as refining the pills he knew best. Completed. Xian Anfeng's voice was filled with excitement. He anxiously took the pill and went to Yen's island to exchange it for the 9 quenching body dan's ingredients. There was only one portion left, and everyone was holding their breath as they waited for the last owner of the 9 quenching body dan's medicinal ingredients. The entire arena fell into silence as an extremely tense and oppressive atmosphere enveloped the entire plaza. Of course, the person who everyone had the most hope of obtaining the last set of 9 quenching body dan medicinal ingredients was Lin Shi and another chaotic mountain. Moments later, 2 voices sounded at the same time. "All right," Lin Shi shouted. "Finally done." Chen Xiang also opened his pill furnace, and Lin Shi looked at each other, then hurriedly picked up the 3 high-grade profound-level pills, and arrived in front of Yen's island in a flash. Their speed was extremely fast, and they had even arrived at the same time. Yen's island was also caught off guard. He looked towards CSHI+ Long and asked for help. "If it wasn't because of the circumstances, you all should have had a good fight. Being able to survive is a compet. 1. Tian of Flames, but this has a great impact on your time. Moreover, if you were to be injured, it will also affect your performance." CSHI+ Long also felt that it was difficult. It was already dark. It was only about 6 hours from the end of the day. Lin Shi rolled his eyes and said, "Thank you, leader. I have a way to draw a circle or 2 on the ground, and let one of you do one thing. If the other person can't do it with you, it would count as a loss. If not, then even if I win, I have to make it simple and fast, and I can't walk out of this circle. Even if you say that if I do something, if he can do it, even if I win, give me the 9 quenching body dan's medicinal ingredients. If he can do it, even if I lose, the 9 quenching body dan will be his." Chen Xiang curled his lips and said, "Your thoughts aren't bad, but if you had thought of something, you would have definitely thought of something long ago to stop me from following you. If you let me do it first, that's more like it." Although CSHI+ Long felt that it was childish, if the 2 of them agreed, then it would be up to them. Everyone found it interesting too, wanting to see what Chen Xiang would do in a group that Lin Shi would not follow. Lin Shi scoffed disdainfully. "You're a man and you actually want me to let you go? Fine, I'll let you go first." There were 2 circles on the ground, and both Chen Xiang and Lin Shi were standing in the circle when they were around 3 meters apart. "Begin." CSHI+ Long never thought that at his age, he would have to play such a childish game with these little ghosts. Chen Xiang laughed and quickly took off all his clothes. "Hee, Miss Lin, if you can strip naked like me, then I'll consider it your win." Chen Xiang laughed out loud, and the men all started laughing out loud. It was normal for men to be naked, but for women to take off their clothes, everyone would have a feast for their eyes. Lin Shi cursed in her heart as she blushed red and looked miserable. "Wow!" With a sound, this charming beauty suddenly burst into tears. Her delicate and touching look made Chen Xiang feel that she was a bit shameless. When a woman cried, many men would have a headache. Chen Xiang also felt that it was a headache and quickly comforted her. "Forget it, that did not count, this time I'll let you go first." Hearing Chen Xiang's words, Lin Shi's crying stopped, but it still continued to lightly sob, causing Chen Xiang to suddenly curse that he was being too merciful. If he was more ruthless, he would have received the 9 quenching body dan's medicinal ingredients already. "That's what you said." Lin Shi dried his eyes. "That's right, everyone heard it. Even if I lose, I won't cry, and I won't act shamelessly either." Chen Xiang curled his lips and said, "Even if I wanted to cry, I would hide and cry." This caused everyone to laugh out loud. They wanted to see Chen Xiang crying, and Lin Shi feeling ashamed. "Zilan, immortal fairy, can you come over and kiss my cheek?" Lin Shi said gently as he looked at Yen Xilan with his watery eyes. Chen Xiang secretly cursed in his heart. If Yen Xilan really went over and kissed Lin Shi, then he might lose. Although Yen Xilan had a good relations, Hi+P with him, Letting her kiss a man in front of everyone was something very easy. But Lin Shi was a beautiful woman, there was no harm in kissing her face. If Yen Xilan was not close to her, there would be people who would say that she was not a a cyanate person. Furthermore, everyone understood Yen Xilan very well, and knew that she was an extremely kind and gentle woman. The lady was obviously helping the woman, so Yen Xilan walked over, and her red lips lightly touched Lin Shi's cheek. Lin Shi was very happy as he laughed. "Thank you, Xilan Immortal Fairy." Then, she mischievously looked at Chen Xiang. "It's your turn." Yen Xilan kissed Lin Shi's cheek. And Chen Xiang also had to do the same thing in order to win against Lin Shi. Yen Xilan kissed Lin Shi's cheek. And Chen Xiang also had to do the same thing in order to win against Lin Shi. The corner of Chen Xiang's mouth twitched. He glanced at the people on stage. All of them had fierce expressions, as though if Yen Xilan just kissed him, the people would immediately rush over and beat him up. Chen Xiang took a deep breath, and looked at Yen Xilan, who had an said smile on his face. Yen Xilan's heart was thumping hard. She secretly regretted kissing Lin Shi, because if this happened, if Chen Xiang was going to win, he could only ask her for help. "Xilan Immortal Fairy, can you kiss me?" Chen Xiang mustered up his courage and said, but at the moment, he felt countless pairs of eyes filled with killing intent staring straight at him. Only they knew the relations. Hi+P between Yen Xilan and Chen Xiang. In Yen Xilan's eyes, Chen Xiang was her kind, and he thought that they cultivated the divine way. Furthermore, Chen Xiang had helped her greatly, giving her many precious cultivation methods. Right now, Chen Xiang needed her help urgently, and this sort of help was nothing to her. She only considered for a moment, and slowly walked towards Chen Xiang. When they saw Yen Xilan's cherry-red lips lightly tap on Chen Xiang's face, everyone felt as if they were struck by lightning. After wiping their eyes, they could not believe that Yen Xilan would kiss a man's face in front of so many people. She found it even more hard to believe. Originally, she thought that she had won, but she did not expect Yen Xilan to so straightforwardly agree to Chen Xiang's request. Yen Xilan did not kiss Lin Shi so straightforwardly just now. This was something that was difficult for people to understand, and they did not believe it was because of Chen Xiang's good looks. Chen Xiang said while grinning, "Thank you, Sister Xilan." Yen Xilan's face reddened slightly as she smiled sweetly. "If it wasn't on behalf of Yen Yao, I wouldn't even be bothered, don't lose." After saying that, Yen Xilan took out the portion of 9 quenching body Dan's medicinal ingredients and said it to Chen Xiang. Everyone suddenly realized and guessed that Du Yanyao and him were friends. That was why Chen Xiang was so close to him. Lin Shi looked at Yen Xilan with a hidden bitterness, then looked at Chen Xiang. Sighing lightly, he walked out of the arena. When Chen Xiang got the 9 quenching body Dan's medicinal ingredients, he immediately started to process the medicinal ingredient. These were perfect ingredients and he had them too, so he had a certain understanding of the medicinal ingredients, and now he was even more serious because these were ground-level pills. If he were to refine the Earth-grade low-rank Dan now, it would be very difficult. But until now, he could only try his best to refine them, no matter if he failed or succeeded, because in this Tian, his gains were the greatest. When Fan Yakan and Xian Nanfeng found out that it was Chen Xiang who had obtained the set of ingredients, their expressions became even more solemn. If it was Lin Shi, even if they lost, they would be fine. However, losing to Chen Xiang, who had concocted pills on the way here, made them lose face. To them, this was a huge blow. There were only 3 people left on the stage, but Lin Shi and the other person from the Chaotic Mountain had not reached the end. This made many alchemists feel that it was a little unexpected, because the Chaotic Mountain's pill refining techniques were all very strong, far surpassing the other forces in the sacred Dan realm. Chen Xiang never thought that Fan Yakan, who had always mocked himself, would actually be able to fight till the end, and he already knew that Fan Yakin was not simple. Last time, during the compet. 1. Tie-in with Fan Yakin, it was only because of a problem with the pill furnace that caused Fan Yakin to lose, but now, being able to compete again made both of them feel excited. There were 3 types of 9 quenching body Dan's medicine: the lava fruit, yellow jade lotus seed, and the Vajra spirit Ganoderma. The lava fruit, on the other hand, produced a kind of strange body tempering power. After fusing it with the medicinal power of the Vajralingji, it could strengthen the body, but during the body tempering process, it would also damage the body, so he needed the medicinal ingredients, the yellow jade lotus seed, to fuse the 3 types of medicine together and refine them into a pill. For example, the lava fruit can easily damage the efficacy of the yellow jade lotus seed. However, the diamond Ganoderma and the lava fruit are opposed to each other, especially when fusing with the medicine aura. Su Meiyao explained the difficulty and main points of the refinement. Chen Xiang remembered it all. He placed a big pile of herbs into the pill furnace and started a fire to refine it. Under the night sky, CS HI plus Long threw a white pillar into the air. It emitted a white and gentle light that illuminated the entire plaza, allowing people to clearly see what the 3 had done while they were refining the pills. The furnace released waves of heat. If one were to pay close attention, they would notice that the heat was changing. Although it was very subtle, many alchemists in the compet. 1. Tian grounds could feel it. When Chen Xiang started the fire and refined the pills, he used the foreseeing alchemy. The medicinal ingredients for the ground-level pill were surprisingly hard to refine. The fire power would destroy the spiritual energy in the ingredients too quickly, it was too small, the speed of burning would be slow, and the quality of the medicine aura would also be affected. However, after being refined and corrected hundreds of times by the foreseeing alchemy in his mind, he finally managed to grasp the appropriate fire power. Moreover, the fire power required for these 3 types of medicinal herbs was different. When he burned them, he still had to use his mana to isolate the 3 medicinal herbs and to burn these 3 main medicinal herbs separately. Therefore, the times he needed to practice and correct would only be a short period of time. He suddenly realized that the fastest speed in the world was the speed at which his brain worked. As time trickled by, the day was about to end. Although Chen Xiang's furnace was shaking non-stop, and beads of perspiration were rolling down his face, he did not explode. The advantage of foreseeing alchemy was that it allowed people to successfully refine pills that they had never refined before, but that was only because of the fact that he had a very good grasp of the foreseeing alchemy, and Chen Xiang had been successful a few times already, so it could be seen that his foreseeing alchemy foundation was extremely solid. Chen Xiang frowned slightly as he opened his eyes. In front of Fan Yakin was a pair of pill furnace fragments, which were still burning with flames, and a rich medicinal aroma wafted across the plaza, causing him to feel refreshed after smelling it. Fan Yakin had actually failed. Seeing his unreconciled look, everyone secretly felt pity, because they had almost succeeded. Fan Yakin dejectedly left the arena. Right now, he had also become a spectator. Looking at Chen Xiang and Xie Nanfeng who were in the arena, he realized that there was still a huge gap between him and Chen Xiang. Fan Yakin dejectedly left the arena. Right now, he had also become a spectator. Looking at Chen Xiang and Xie Nanfeng who were in the arena, he realized that there was still a huge gap between him and Chen Xiang. It's already not easy for these low-grade pill furnaces to be refined to the end. 9 Quenching Body Dan is a Earth-grade low-rank Dan. The tyrannical power generated during the process of condensing the pill can easily destroy these low-grade pill furnaces. An old man patted Fan Yakin's shoulder and laughed. "Boy, you have done a good job. If you return it to me, I'm afraid that I will not even be able to forge a high-grade profound level with this pill furnace." Fan Yakin shook his head and laughed. "But they can do it, especially Chen Xiang. It's his first time refining this kind of pill, and he's even using this kind of broken pill furnace. The old man stopped talking and lowered his head in thought. To Chen Xiang, no pill furnace was important anymore, and the mana he used could easily suppress those tyrannical medicine aura. This allowed him to walk a much smoother path of alchemy, and right now, when fighting against the tyrannical medicine aura, he was not as thorny as Su Meiyao said he would be. There's only 2 hours before this day ends, Yan Xilan said. Chen Xiang was only at the middle stage. He had already completely incinerated all the medicinal ingredients, turning them into medicinal powder and medicine aura. What he was going to do next was to fuse a variety of medicine aura and medicinal powder together, and condense them into a pill. The latter stage is the most difficult, you have to be careful, Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang's brows trembled, because the furnace had already exploded during his training, and that was because there was a major problem. It really is difficult. Chen Xiang sweated profusely as he continuously trained in his mind, continuously discovering major mistake. Even when he was about to correct himself, and when he corrected his mistakes just now, his mind would once again practice, allowing him to quickly discover his mistake. Chen Xiang's furnace shook even more, and so did Xiananfeng's. However, Xiananfeng's expression was much more relaxed than Chen Xiang's, while Chen Xiang seemed to be on the verge of exploding. If Chen Xiang did not place a layer of mana on the furnace walls of the furnace to create a furnace, the furnace would have probably exploded long ago. This was because when the medicine aura fused with each other, they became extremely tyrannical, like a volcano erupting violently or a meteorite colliding. "I'm done refining," Xiananfeng suddenly shouted. Xiananfeng leisurely wiped the sweat off his forehead, but suddenly the pill refining furnace burst open, a gold light shot out from within, the golden mist surged out in all directions, and a golden pill the size of a peanut floated in the midst of the golden mist. Chen Xiang frowned, because that golden mist was an extremely dense medicine aura and medicine, but Xiananfeng did not use it completely. After spending so much, he felt a bit of heartache. If it was him, he could definitely condense 2 pills. Many people had seen 9 quenching body dan before, but normally only the old alchemist could refine one. Seeing that such a young alchemist could refine one, many old alchemists were shocked, feeling that living this age was a waste. With a single glance, one could tell that the glittering 9 quenching body dan was of high quality. Many alchemists were impressed by the fact that it was able to refine such a good 9 quenching body dan in such a short period of time and in such a low-quality pill furnace. If a 9 quenching body dan can only produce one in a single furnace, with his speed being so fast, and furthermore, it's of high quality, then even if Chen Xiang could also refine a 9 quenching body dan of the same quality, I think the final victor would still be Xiananfeng, because his speed is much faster than Chen Xiang's. An old man said as he stroked his beard. After Fan Yakin heard this, he let out a bland laugh. That's not necessarily true, everyone has witnessed the amount of pills that Chen Xiang has produced. If he could refine 2 9 quenching body dans, then he would definitely be the winner, even if it's 2 pellets of inferior quality. In terms of value and alchemy skills, Chen Xiang would definitely be the victor. Eating 2 high-quality pills together was far better than one. Even if Chen Xiang was a little slower, he would still win at the same time. It's hard, it's his first time refining it, and 9 quenching body dan are very strong, it's difficult to split them into 2, so he can only give up a portion of them. So since ancient times, when 9 quenching body dan came out, it's also known as the golden mist. The old man shook his head. The reason why this 9 quenching body dan is expensive is that here, giving out 1 pellet is extremely difficult to refine. In the earth-grade low-rank dan, it is the most difficult to make, and if it is more useful, it can be given out more, and it is considered a middle-ground level pellet. Chen Xiang's furnace was shaking violently, but now that everyone was used to it, even after shaking for so long, it did not explode, causing everyone to be disappointed. When I refine this 9 quenching body Dan, I could only produce 1 pellet, and if it was you, I think I could give you 2, but you have to think carefully, because this medicine aura has already been fused into a ball, and if you want to separate from it, the resulting explosion would be very loud, and could very likely cause you to fail. Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang had already merged all of the medicinal powder and medicine aura into a ball of golden mist, and this ball of mist was very big, so he felt that it could be divided into 3 parts. 3 pills. Chen Xiang made up his mind. He released all his Fa Li and started to tear off the gentle air fog in the pill furnace. During the process, the incomparably violent medicine aura started to surge and actually caused the furnace to jump high into the sky. Seeing Chen Xiang's pill furnace suddenly shoot up, everyone felt that Chen Xiang was done for, but Chen Xiang remained calm, because his mana was still inside the pill furnace. The pill furnace quickly fell down again. Just as it was about to touch the ground, it suddenly slowed down and then gently landed on the ground. The pill furnace quickly fell back down and suddenly slowed down when it was about to touch the ground. There's only an hour left. Xiananfeng was actually a little nervous at this moment, because Chen Xiang had yet to fail and had persevered on. If Chen Xiang could refine a 9-quenching body Dan as well, even if its quality was not as good as his, he would still feel unhappy winning because this was Chen Xiang's first time refining it. Chen Xiang's starting point was much lower than others, yet he was able to reach the final step. It could be seen that his foundation and potential was extremely huge. The fiercely shaking pill furnace suddenly quieted down. Chen Xiang exhaled and opened his eyes. His face was pale white, because he had exhausted too much of his mental energy, and seeing that, everyone knew that he had succeeded. The first time he refined a 9-quenching body Dan, he successfully completed it using his foreseeing alchemy. This made Su Alchemist exclaim in shock, because he believed that he was incapable of refining a 9-quenching body Dan like Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang opened the lid and took out 3 black pellets, causing the entire audience to be in an uproar. Because the good 9-quenching body Dan's were gold in color, but Chen Xiang's was black. He saw the 3 black pills. Xiananfeng heaved a sigh of relief. Although Chen Xiang had failed in refining the pill, he couldn't help but admire Chen Xiang for being able to condense 3 pills. He saw the 3 black pills. Xiananfeng heaved a sigh of relief. Although Chen Xiang had failed in refining the pill, he couldn't help but admire Chen Xiang for being able to condense 3 pills. The compet. 1. Tian is over, the victor is Xiananfeng, you have obtained the reward of the holy water of Qianyang. Hi Long's hanging heart was finally relieved. His face was full of joy, because his grandson was the one who obtained the victory in this compet. 1. Tian and their sacred dance school was the one who obtained the victory in this secret bet. Of course, even if Chen Xiang won, their sacred dance school would still win the secret gambling house. Chen Xiang looked at the 3 pills in his hand, and just as he was about to speak, he felt a few auras approaching him. The chaotic mountain man made his move, and a few people suddenly jumped out from the crowd and stood behind Chen Xiang. Seeing that, Hi Long and Yen Xilan anxiously walked over to Chen Xiang's side and looked at the people from Chaotic Mountain. What are you guys doing? The man from the Chaotic Mountain asked coldly. Now that the compet. 1. Tian is over, we are going to bring Chen Xiang away. If you stop us, you will be going against the Chaotic Mountain. Whoever dares to obstruct us, we will destroy him no matter what. The man roared angrily. His roiling voice reverberated in the square, causing everyone's ears to ring. Just as Yen Xilan was about to escape with Chen Xiang, an aged voice suddenly sounded. This old one will stop you. See what you can do to me? If you have the guts, then kill this daddy here. Hearing this voice, Chen Xiang wanted to scold him, because this was Du Hai's voice. Back then, Du Hai had promised him that she would help him take care of the Chaotic Mountain. Could it be that the voice came out? Everyone only saw a white light suddenly shot down from the sky, and an old man with a child's face and crane hair, who looked like an immortal, suddenly appeared beside Chen Xiang. He looked at the people from Chaotic Mountain with a pair of disdainful eyes. "He's Dan Immortal. Look at his waist," one of them screeched. Dan Immortal was an existence at the top of sacred Dan realm, an existence that was as rare as phoenix feathers and Qilin horns. Although he was not more powerful than the Pill Saint, the Dan Immortal was an actual existence. A fist-like transparent pearl hung around Du Hai's waist. Inside of it was a white pellet, and outside this pellet, there were 2 small dragons circling around. Roaming Dragon Pill, top-grade Immortal Pill, and it's a dual dragon protection pill, Su Meiyao said in shock. Seeing that Du Hai had appeared, the people from the Chaotic Mountain were all stunned. This kind of Dan Immortal was not someone they could offend, and they had already guessed the ident. 1. Tai of this old man, the Du Hai who had been missing for so many years. He did not know the use of this kind of pill, but he knew that after the pill was successfully refined, a small dragon would appear outside the pill to roam about, and also undergo the heavenly tribulation. That small dragon would be able to protect this pill from being destroyed. This is what your Chaotic Mountain's Mountain King gave you. Take it and take a good look. Luckily you didn't bring this kid away, otherwise you would have been in big trouble. Du Hai threw a piece of paper over. Because Chen Xiang had caused one of his 2 sons to die and one was injured, so he was unable to partake. 1 P8 in the pill refining compet. 1 Tian. He wished that he could tear Chen Xiang into pieces, but right now, he had received the order from the Chaotic Mountain, telling them to immediately return and not to pursue the matter with Chen Xiang. Although the middle-aged man was furious, he still gave in to the order in the end and shouted angrily, "Let's go!" Chen Xiang shouted, "You want to leave? Catch!" The middle-aged man turned his head and saw Chen Xiang taking out the chaos fire and throwing it at him. He seemed to have realized something, but it was too late, because the chaos fire was flying at a very fast speed, and in the blink of an eye it had entered his body. The middle-aged man's body was immediately set on fire. He could only hear the middle-aged man crazily howling. The screams were heart-tearing and lung-splitting. It made one's hair stand on end, and sent chills down their spines. Seeing that, all the rankers in Chaotic Mountain were terrified, and anxiously dodged aside, because they were worried that Chen Xiang would attack them. They did not know how Chen Xiang did it, but they guessed that it was because the chaos fire was not ordinary and had God-like strength. Today, Chen Xiang, a tiny extreme realm, was able to use a chaos fire to attack a powerful deity to such an extent. This caused many people to be shocked by this kind of power. The silver flames vanished from the middle-aged man's body. The middle-aged man was still standing there, as if he was a statue, his face filled with pain. His arms were wrapped around his body, and his expression was frozen. It was eerie to the point of making one's hair stand on end. A gust of wind blew past, and the middle-aged man turned into a cloud of white powder that scattered with the wind, but the spectators couldn't help but Ver. Especially the people from the Chaotic Mountain, they only had fear in their hearts and immediately left as fast as they could. "Brat, your attacks are too ruthless." Du Hai tugged at Chen Xiang's hair, then saw the 3 black pellets on the center of Chen Xiang's palm. "You refined it pretty well. I didn't expect you to have such high talent for alchemy, and even managed to refine 3 pellets at once. Even when I refined it tens of thousands of times, I only produced 1 or 2 pellets of the highest quality 9 quenching body Dan." Hearing Du Hai's words, Long was stunned. Xian Anfeng also had a face full of shock. They had never heard of high-quality 9 quenching body Dan. Yan Xilan was also very surprised. She never thought that Chen Xiang would actually know a strange old man like Du Hai. Their relations. P was very good. she could tell that this was not because of Du Yenyao. Du Hai was a Dan immortal, an influential figure in the sacred Dan realm. Even CS Hi plus Long, the leader S, had to respect him somewhat. Chen Xiang shrugged his shoulders and self-deprecatingly said, "But in the eyes of others, this is a trash pill, not even comparable to that golden 9 quenching body Dan. Bulls. Hi plus T, they haven't touched it yet." Du Hai looked at CS Hi plus Long, then looked at Xian Anfeng, and quickly understood what was going on. "Old man Xie, you still have such bad eyes. Take a good look and see if your grandson has refined it well." Du Hai took one from Chen Xiang and threw it to CS Hi plus Long, then continued, "This is the peak quality among the 9 quenching body Dan. If my teacher hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have known about this either." After CS Hi plus Long caught it, he took a whiff of it, and his body Hi plus varied, his face flushed red, because the quality was indeed good, and he actually made a mistake in front of so many people. Xian Nanfeng naturally did not dare to say anything, as that was what the Dan Immortal had appraised. Even if the relations Hi plus P between Du Hai and Chen Xiang was good, they would not carelessly appraise and favor Chen Xiang in front of so many people. "That's right, the quality is indeed good, I was careless, the final victory should be Chen Xiang's." CS Hi plus Long received the dry sun holy water from Xian Anfeng and Paes, said it to him. CS Hi plus Long even apologized to him. Du Hai patted Chen Xiang's shoulder and laughed. "Kid, how many times did you cultivate before you succeeded?" Chen Xiang scratched his head. "This is my first time refining a 9 quenching body Dan, do you believe me?" Du Hai was shocked. He looked at Chen Xiang, and thinking of Chen Xiang's background, he nodded. "I believe you." The pill refining compet.I.Tian ended. The sacred Dan meeting that happened once every 100 years had also finished, so Chen Xiang and Du Hai were now secretly chatting with each other inside the city lord's mansion. The pill refining compet.1 Tian ended. The sacred Dan meeting that happened once every 100 years had also finished, so Chen Xiang and Du Hai were now secretly chatting with each other inside the city lord's mansion. "Why did you get settled so late? I was almost killed by the people from Chaotic Mountain. If I knew earlier, I wouldn't have believed you had the guts to come and join this sacred Dan meeting." Chen Xiang complained. It was this Du Hai who gave him the guarantee, that was why he came. Du Hai laughed and scolded. "You little brat, acting good after getting lucky, do you know how much pressure those old fellows in Chaotic Mountain will feel after you get recognized by the Chaos Fire? And now you even used this Chaos Fire to kill a fellow with decent strength." Chen Xiang curled his lips. "These guys asked for it, don't blame me." Du Hai stroked his beard and laughed. "Although this boy gives the people of Chaotic Mountain a great sense of danger, they will still let you off after seeing the martial arts you gave them. However, you still have to keep a low profile. Could it be that not a single person in Chaotic Mountain is afraid of this Chaos Fire?" Chen Xiang thoughtfully asked. If it was really like that, he would not be afraid of Bird Chaotic Mountain in the future. Seeing that Chen Xiang was thinking about something, Du Hai hit him on his head fiercely and said, "Be more honest, that Chaotic Mountain is not a joke. I guarantee that even if you have my strength now and are able to enter with a Chaos Fire, if you are able to exit, you will definitely be thrown out by them." That Chaos Fire indeed brought them quite a bit of pressure, but it does not mean that they have no way of dealing with it. Don't think that this sacred Dan realm is too simple. The sacred Dan realm that you are seeing right now is just the tip of the iceberg. Chen Xiang rubbed his head that was hurting and muttered a few words. "You are my grandson-in-law after all, so of course I have to watch over you a little. Hee, I didn't think that you would actually be able to grab hold of this girl, Yenyao." Du Hai had just received the news too. He did not care if Chen Xiang and Du Yenyao were real or fake. In short, he had his eyes on Chen Xiang, As long as Chun Xiang was in Sacred Dan realm, he would admit to it. Chun Xiang's apothecary talent surprised Du Hai. It was enough for Du Hai to be proud of his achievements in the Sacred Dan realm, but back then, he wasn't even as heaven-defying as Chun Xiang. Now that Chun Xiang had gotten along well with his proud granddaughter, he was obviously happy. "Father, someone from the Chaotic Mountain requests an audience." Du Kongxing seemed to be extremely careful in front of Du Hai, as he was worried that he would anger Du Hai to such an extent. Only now did he realize just how formidable Chun Xiang was, to think that he could actually get along so well with his temperamental father. Du Hai frowned. "Could it be that the fellow from the Chaotic Mountain is still here for your sake? Back then, they had promised me that they would temporarily not pursue the matter of you taking away the Chaos Fire and killing Guohuaqing." Chun Xiang asked. "Do not pursue the matter for now? So when are they going to start?" "Don't worry about this. They are currently engrossed in training their demon-suppressing technique. If it wasn't for that, I would have come looking for you when they were in a hurry to deal with the demon." Cough, cough. "At that time, I even discussed martial arts with them for a few days and nights. Let's go and see what the people from the Chaotic Mountain have come to find me for." After walking out of the secret room, he went into the City Lord's mansion's hall. There were 6 or 7 people sitting in the hall. Among them were the experts who had besieged Chun Xiang previously, and also 2 new faces. "If you have something to say, just say it." The moment Du Hai arrived at this place, he did not bother to be polite and spoke straightforwardly. An old man with wrinkles all over his face stood up and said, "We already know why the higher-ups told us not to pursue this matter. This deal can indeed be let go of the higher-up." When Chun Xiang saw these 7 Chaotic Mountainess, he knew that they were not weak. However, from their words, they had to listen to other people's orders, and now he knew why Du Hai did not underestimate the 7 Chaotic Mountainess. Indeed, what he saw was just the tip of the iceberg. "If you have something to say, just say it," Du Hai said. The old man looked at Chun Xiang. That pair of deep old eyes were like an unfathomably deep ocean, causing Chun Xiang to feel a chill in his heart. "Chun Xiang, you have 2 Chaos Fire in your hands. This Chaos Fire has no other uses other than being able to deal with our primal Chaos tribe. It's useless for you to keep it, so please return it to us." The old man's tone was extremely unyielding, which made Chun Xiang extremely disgusted. Chun Xiang sneered. "I didn't even think about it. However, according to the ancient records of our imperial dragon race, the people of this primal Chaos clan are all very strong. I don't know about the specifics, but looking at the fear they have towards the Chaos Fire, they should have been sent here from the primal Chaos realm, or perhaps escaped from here." The old man was a little angry. Chun Xiang actually rejected him so stubbornly. "Then what do you want the Chaos Fire for?" the old man asked. "Nothing. I only feel that this will allow me to keep my life, so I must keep it," Chun Xiang said. "I can let this Chaos Fire recognize me as its master. I cannot use its power right now, but maybe in the future." The old man's expression became gloomy. "Looks like you definitely know some of the Chaos Fire's secrets, but from what I know, with 7 Chaos Fire, only 2 of them are completely useless to you. That's none of your business." Chun Xiang's heart trembled as he said this calmly. He thought that the people of Chaotic Mountain did not know the heaven-shaking secret of the Chaos Fire. It was obvious that no one would recognize him as master. "I have 2 Chaos Fire in my possession. I know that if you recognize me as their master, you might be able to obtain benefits from that big secret, but as long as I destroy these 2, you can forget about me for the rest of your life." Chun Xiang's heart moved. Looking at the wrinkled old man, he suddenly felt that this old man's ident. 1. Tai was definitely not ordinary. Otherwise, he would not have possessed 2 Chaos Fire. "What benefits do you have from having a Chaos Fire?" Chun Xiang had also taken out his Chaos Fire, causing fear to instantly appear on the faces of those from the Chaotic Mountain. As long as I have enough chaos fire, I will be the master of the chaotic mountain. I can promise you that if you don't pursue the matter regarding the past, I will give you a lot of benefit." The old man's voice was full of excitement, and his eyes burned with a wild fire. Chen Xiang held a piece of chaos fire that did not recognize its master, and forced a drop of blood from his finger, and merged with the chaos fire. After the chaos fire absorbed Chen Xiang's blood, it immediately shot out a burst of silvery white light that filled the entire hall. This was the protective divine light that was released when the chaos fire recognized it as its master. Right now, Chen Xiang's hand swept out like lightning, and a huge cyan-colored monster appeared with a flash, hacking into the old man's arm, chopping off the arm that was holding the two chaos fires tightly. Chen Xiang picked up the arm and quickly left the hall. He transformed into a small worm and flew away from the city lord's mansion. Chen Xiang used his full strength. In the shortest amount of time, he had left the city lord's mansion, and at this time, he was already close to the city gate. It was also at this time that he heard an earth-shattering roar coming from the direction of the city lord's mansion. It was from that old man. Chen Xiang used his full strength. In the shortest amount of time, he had left the city lord's mansion, and at this time, he was already close to the city gate. It was also at this time that he heard an earth-shattering roar coming from the direction of the city lord's mansion. It was from that old man. No one would have thought that Chen Xiang would actually take action and it, even Du Hai was stunned. He scolded in his heart, because he had long ago warned Chen Xiang to keep a low profile and not provoke the chaotic mountain again, but who would have known that in his heart, he would steal away two chaos fires from them right under his nose? This was also the first time Du Hai had encountered this kind of thing. Forget about Chen Xiang, this kind of fellow with an ant's strength, even with his strength, he would not dare to do this. Yet, Chen Xiang had done it and even managed to retreat safely. What an idiot! He's holding such a precious thing in front of my eyes. Serves him right. Chen Xiang flew out of the sacred Dan city and continued to fly. He did not dare to change his form, afraid that the old man would sense his presence. From the ambition the old man had just shown, there were clearly powers in Chaotic Mountain. The old man was unsatisfied with the person in charge. If he succeeded, he would naturally not care about the trade between Du Hai and the people in charge, and would come looking for him sooner or later. Chen Xiang was not an idiot. He had let one of the sons of the traders die, while the other was injured. He did not believe it, which was why he took action so decisively and head away the two chaos fires. In this way, without the chaos fire, the old man's prestige in the chaotic mountain would drop greatly, and he would not be able to easily usurp power and usurp the throne. In the immortal poisoning devil forest, only after arriving here did he turn back into his human form. Only here did he feel safe. The sacred Dan meeting had already ended, and he had gotten what he wanted. He only needed to hide here for a while, and then go back to buy a batch of ground-level pills from Yen Xilan early, before returning to the mortal martial realm. It was because he did not plan to stay in sacred Dan realm that he did not have any qualms, and this also made him cry out loudly. This old guy is really grabbing to death. Chen Xiang took out a broken arm, pulled off the two chaos fires from the old claws that were as thin as steel, and chuckled. After playing with it for a while, Chen Xiang set fire to the broken arm and mumbled, "Now there are still 3 chaos fires left, which should be in Chaotic Mountain's hands. It seems like there's no way to take them." Chen Xiang now had the pellets, the dry sun holy water, and the dragon pearl. What he needed to do was to quickly raise his strength and step into the peak of the 100 refining realm as soon as possible so that he could deal with the incoming great war between 3 realms. However, after a few days, the entire first level of Sacred Dan realm was covered in portraits of Chen Xiang, and there were even billions of bounty of money. Chen Xiang had long gotten used to this kind of thing when he was at mortal martial realm, and this made the name Chen Xiang extremely popular throughout the entire Sacred Dan realm. In the region of the 18th floor, in Sacred Dan realm, the huge mansion of the Du family was located on the top of a huge mountain. A dense immortal aura surrounded it, and the mansion was filled with noise, as if it was a small city. Grandfather! The moment Du Yenyao saw Du Hai, she threw herself into Du Hai's embrace like a little girl. It had been many years since she had seen Du Hai, and although she knew that her grandfather was very strong, she was still extremely worried. From what Chen Xiang was doing now, it could be seen that he had completely angered the chaotic mountain. Since she was young, she had heard quite a few things about the chaotic mountain, and Chen Xiang was currently opposing this enormous monster. Grandfather, can you help him? Du Yenyao pleaded. Du Hai lovingly caressed Du Yenyao's head and laughed. Don't be afraid of that brat. Don't look at how he is. He's even craftier than an old cunning fox. Little girl, I got to know this kid back at Immortal Poisoning Devil Forest. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even know when I would be able to return. Du Hai laughed. Your fire soul has evolved, the flames have increased by a lot, it's time to attack the Nirvana realm. I, your grandfather, will do everything I can to help you, cultivate in peace. Du Yenyao nodded. She knew that Chen Xiang was the one who told her to return so quickly, and she knew that the relations Hi+P between Chen Xiang and herself was very good. This made her feel a lot more at ease. D.A.M. Enit, have we reached a bottleneck? Chen Xiang frowned. He had tried many times to circulate his Taiji dragon-suppressed kung fu and other mystical techniques, but to no avail. He was unable to compress the innate qi into the Jinyuan granule. Although he had long shui to imbue a large amount of dragon power, it was useless for him to be unable to compress the dragon power into the Jinyuan granule. You are currently at the soul martial realm, and your congenital kung fu soul has not reached its limit yet, so you are obviously unable to advance any further. It seems like you have to first push your congenital kung fu soul to its peak, and that will require your own effort, Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang knew that he had cultivated too fast, so he had to slow down and start concocting the pills. He had to master the high-grade profound level and 9 quenching body Dan-s that he had refined during the compet. 1 Tian. In the blink of an eye, Chen Xiang had stayed in the Immortal Poisoning Devil Forest for over a month. He was already familiar with refining small shaping Dan, Dinghun Dan and 9 quenching body Dan. He had only made 10 batches of 9 quenching body Dan, but he had failed by only producing 3 pills each time. Right now, he had almost 30 of these 9 quenching body Dan, but he needed to ingest a lot of these pills to be able to replicate. As long as it was above ground level, that was the case, so Chen Xiang had to condense even more creation divine liquid in order to be able to create even more high-leveled herbs. Of course, he would not forget to refine the profound beast pill for long shui. The difficulty of refining this mysterious beast pill was much lower than that of the 9 quenching body Dan. He had only failed for 3 batches before succeeding. A pot of 5 pills isn't too little, Chen Xiang said with a smile, but Long Shui had already started to eat. At the same time, he was praising the taste of the profound beast pill, and at the same time, gave her a lot of energy. It's time to go out for a stroll. Chen Xiang tried again, but still failed to think of a way to break through the bottleneck, and could only go out and relax. After disguising himself, he went to the sacred Dan city, but the city lord here had already changed. Chen Xiang did not look for them. When he saw that the city was covered with his portraits, he could only shake his head and smile. He wanted to look for Yan Xilan, but he couldn't find her. Yan Xilan had previously said that after the sacred Dan meeting was done, she would rest for a while. I'm really stupid. Why didn't you let Yan Xilan leave a contact method for me? Chen Xiang had also wanted to give it to him, but after he stole someone else's thing, it had disappeared, and Yan Xilan couldn't find him at all. As Chen Xiang was walking on the main street, he suddenly saw a group of people running frantically towards the city gate. From their attire, he knew that they were City Lord's mansion's city guards. Sai, the fissure that sealed the demon world's entrance, is now in the demon world again. An old man sighed helplessly. He was getting closer and closer to the great war between three realms. Therefore, there would be more and more spatial rifts, and most people in these worlds would not let these demons come in through these rifts, so they had to seal these rifts and let the demons H.I.T. them at the biggest entrance. When that time came, they would guard there and wait for the demons to come in and sacre them. He was getting closer and closer to the great war between three realms. Therefore, there would be more and more spatial rifts, and most people in these worlds would not let these demons come in through these rifts, so they had to seal these rifts and let the demons H.I.T. them at the biggest entrance. When that time came, they would guard there and wait for the demons to come in and sacre them. Chen Xiang had heard that because there were many worlds that did not seal those cracks, when great war between three realms first started, they were filled with demons. There was no way to gather all of them together and deal with them. The 18 floors of the sacred Dan realm have probably been invaded by the evil demon. Didn't they say that there's still some time before the great war between three realms begins? An old woman said worriedly. No one wanted a war because there would be no one left alive. It's not that serious. It's just that a small number of them came over. However, what's coming has to come sooner or later. There were thousands of city guards, all of them were of decent strength, all of them were at the 9th level of true martial realm. In this first level region, which was like the mortal realm, it could already be considered not bad. The 18th level is where the strong are as common as the clouds. I really want to go there and take a look. Chen Xiang looked into the distance. The sacred Dan realm was like a flight of stairs, divided into 18 floors. The highest level area was where the wealthiest and most powerful people resided, as well as the locations of the famous forces in the sacred Dan realm. There are probably a lot of people from the Nirvana stage there. If you walk on the streets and find out that the people around you are all from the Nirvana stage, are you afraid? Su Meiyao laughed. Chen Xiang shook his head. Looks like I should just go to the lower levels to take a look. He actually wanted to go to the Du family to take a look, but Du Yenyao had said before that on the 18th floor, if he were to go by himself, he would have to travel through mountains and rivers and pass through layers and layers of danger in order to reach there. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible to go from the first floor to the 18th floor without being led by strong people. Now Chen Xiang understood why, because the closer he got to the second floor, the more he felt a strange power pressing down on him, causing his movements to slow down. The SPAC here is very STURDY and has a strange gravity. It seems that if you were to continue flying, you would probably fall. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang had originally planned to use the Luotian Gate S to jump in SPAC, but who knew that he would use most of his energy to open the spatial door. If not for his transformation technique, he would have already been caught by a few of the demon beasts in the forest. If I had the ability, I would definitely take out their beast cores. Chen Xiang's journey there could be said to be filled with danger. All the demon beasts he met were all extremely powerful. After going deeper into the sacred Dan realm, only then did Chen Xiang realize that, other than the cities that had people gathering, there were a large number of demon beasts in many mountain forests. Their strengths were different, but the places that those cities occupied seemed very small compared to the mountain forests. He was now very convinced that Du Hai had told him before that the sacred Dan realm he saw was only the tip of the iceberg. He guessed that there might be more powerful transformational immortal beasts than humans, right? It's just that they usually don't interact with humans, so no one knew about it. Finally, he arrived at the 10th floor, where a city dweller lived. He had also heard Du Yenyao mention that most of the people on the 10th floor were at the peak of the 100 refining realm. Not only was the celestial spiritual energy here rich, there was also a huge pressure that allowed people to cultivate and strengthen their fleshly bodies. In this city, his portrait was everywhere, and as long as they could capture him alive, they would be able to receive 5 billion spar. In the eyes of many hundred refining realm, this was an extremely huge amount of wealth. Other than being able to purchase pills and some cultivation resources, Spar S could also create arrays, because non-Nirvana stage warriors would need to use an array formation to convert their immortal energy into a type of energy that they could absorb. If there were more Spar S, the duration of the array formation would be longer, and the array formation would be better. Chen Xiang ate in a hotel and ordered several dishes made from demonic beast meat. Not only could he enjoy delicious food, he could also replenish his energy. Just then, a waiter suddenly rushed in and shouted, "The latest news is about the chaotic mountain." Seeing the waiter stop to speak, a few generous people immediately threw him a few spar and let him continue. The always mysterious chaotic mountain had been walking around outside very frequently recently, so everyone suspected that the chaotic mountain might be the main force to fight against the demons in the future. Chaotic Mountain is on the 18th floor releasing a message, saying that they will be hosting a huge conference, and are anxious for the various powers in Sacred Dan City to join forces to discuss on how to fight demon and devil realms. It seems that Chaotic Mountain is going to be the leader of the group, the waiter said. Right now, the Sacred Dan realm is also a piece of loose sand. If all the major powers are unable to unite, then of course, they would need a strong force to organize them and lead them together. Only then would they be able to deal with those demons better. One of them said. The news released by the Chaotic Mountain also said that they will take out 3 Chaos Fire and choose 3 people who can give out orders. They will give these 3 Chaos Fire to these 3. The words of the waiter made Chen Xiang's heart move. There were only 3 pieces of the Chaos Fire in the hands of the people from the Chaotic Mountain, and they were only trash in their hands. However, Chen Xiang could, and he wanted to partake. 1p8 in the huge meeting, but he had to go to the 18th floor first. When will the Chaotic Mountain hold that convention? Chen Xiang asked. 3 months later. Chen Xiang secretly thought that he had to have enough power to go to the 18th floor, otherwise it would be difficult for him to find Yen Xilan. I should also go back. I wonder how is Mortal Martial Realm doing? How much time has Pa-S said? Although Chen Xiang had not left the Mortal Martial Realm for long, he still missed them a little. However, he did not finish the last thing, which was to purchase a batch of ground-level pills. 3 months, I want to step into the 100 refining realm. After making up his mind, Chen Xiang ate all the dishes on the table and bought a quiet house in the city. Right at this moment, many people wearing armor were quickly walking toward his residence from all directions. After Long Shui found out, she immediately told him, "My whereabouts have been discovered? That's impossible." Chen Xiang anxiously walked out from underground. Then he saw that the armored men had also jumped in from the surrounding walls with black sabers in their hands, surrounding him in the middle. There were more than 20 people surrounding Chen Xiang. Looking at their attire, Chen Xiang knew they were from the city lord's mansion. He just did not expect the eyes of the guards at the city gate to be so vicious, to actually be able to see through his disguise, which was why he had secretly followed him, and took the chance to break through when he was not looking. There were more than 20 people surrounding Chen Xiang. Looking at their attire, Chen Xiang knew they were from the city lord's mansion. He just did not expect the eyes of the guards at the city gate to be so vicious, to actually be able to see through his disguise, which was why he had secretly followed him, and took the chance to break through when he was not looking. Did your city lord send you here? For a city lord to use the power of a city lord's mansion to seek for his own personal gains, you should at least agree on a share with that city lord. Chen Xiang sneered. The city guards would normally not do such a thing. After all, he was not the criminal of the city. None of your business. Just surrender. An old man said. This old fellow belongs to the Nirvana stage. He should have just said through the Nirvana doom. Long Shui warned her. Nirvana stages. Chen Xiang's face became gloomy, and in his hand, a light blue ball suddenly appeared. Seems like you want to resist, give it to me. Just as the old guard spoke out, the light blue pill in Chen Xiang's hand was ejected out and shot into the old guard's mouth. Only a thunderous boom was heard, and the old guard's mouth was burst open, covered in blood, making him look extremely bloody. This was the first time Chen Xiang had used something like a heavenly thunder pill to bomb someone. A heavenly thunder pill was an extremely terrifying offensive medicine, refined using medicinal ingredients combined with a large amount of lightning attribute innate Qs. It could increase its power along with the lightning attribute innate Qs that the refiner poured in. Chen Xiang's heavenly thunder pill was refined from using a large amount of lightning attribute innate Qi. When it entered a person's mouth, it would have a terrifying killing power. This was not the end. After Chen Xiang threw a heavenly thunder pill, he waved his hand, and transparent powder floated around him. This type of powder was the God Eclipse powder that would cause anyone in Heaven Realm to tremble just by listening to it. The powder was like air, enveloping the 20 city guards. In an instant, the muscles on their faces started to melt and rot, being slowly devoured by the God Eclipse powder, followed by their armor. As for the old guard from Nirvana stage, because of the injuries on his mouth, the God Eclipse powders were able to quickly spread from his wounds into his weak body. In a few short moments, these people were all shockingly corroded by the God Eclipse powder, and their screams never stopped. After a short moment, their screams had stopped, and a huge crater had appeared on the ground. Even the soil had been corroded, and those people had long since melted into nothingness. This was the first time Chen Xiang saw someone being melted by a God Eclipse powder, but he could tell that his God Eclipse powder was still lacking a lot when it came to dealing with Nirvana stage, because the old guard from Nirvana stage was the last one to melt. If not for his wounds, it would not have been so easy. Previously, the broken soul tree's tree sap had soaked his body, so these God Eclipse powder were useless against him. Not even his clothes could corrode, because Chen Xiang's innate Qi could also prevent the God Eclipse powder from corroding. If you were to be discovered, the consequences would be very serious. At that time, it will not be as simple as Chaotic Mountain wanting you dead. The entire power of Sacred Dan Realm will be eliminated by you at all costs. By you said sternly. After Chen Xiang cleaned up all the clues left behind by the God Eclipse powder, he messed up the place and set fire to the house. After changing his appearance again, he walked towards the city lord's mansion. You want to capture me to exchange for the bounty? I want to let these guys know what the consequences will be. Chen Xiang walked towards the city lord's mansion with a strong killing intent. The person who could make this group of city guards move was definitely the city lord of this city. I've found it. This fellow is currently discussing how to receive your reward with a group of black-armored people. Long Shui said, then gave Chen Xiang an accurate position. The strongest should be that city lord, the peak of the 100 refining realm. Chen Xiang came to the wall next to the city lord. This bunch of bastards go to hell. Chen Xiang sneered and chanted an incantation. Of course, Chen Xiang did not plan to face those people face to face, so he chose to use his sacred art outside, the heavenly dragon seal. As he released his mana, he formed a hand sign and chanted an incantation. The clouds in the sky suddenly surged and quickly gathered above City Lord's mansion. The stronger Chen Xiang's mana was, the faster he could gather energy when using this technique, and now that he was gathering dense immortal qi, the power would be even stronger and the speed would be faster, and the heavenly dragon seal technique could only be used when using immortal power. The people gathered in City Lord's mansion looked up at the abnormal sign in the sky. They did not know what it was, although they felt a sense of danger, but they were still standing on guard, waiting for the huge immortal chi vortex in the sky. "These idiots!" secretly laughed in his heart, and then shouted in a low voice, only to see that a red light suddenly exploded in the sky. Upon closer inspection, it was actually a large expanse of flames, and a sea of fire was ignited in the sky. Wrath of the Fire Dragon. In the middle of the huge whirlpool of burning flames, a gigantic dragon head suddenly appeared. With a furious roar, the colossal dragon, whose entire body was burning with flames, plunged its head into the ground. In that moment, all the people in the City Lord's mansion were hit by the furious dragon, and all of them fled from the City Lord's mansion. The fire quickly spread and enveloped the entire City Lord's mansion, turning the City Lord and the city guards who were hit by the dragon into ashes. The huge City Lord was burnt for 3 days and 3 nights, which attracted the attention of the upper echelons of the various forces, because they found out that this City Lord had sent people to capture Chen Xiang before. This matter quickly caused a huge uproar in the sacred Dan realm. Regarding the events that happened that day, many people had personally witnessed it. Chen Xiang was already in a wasteland far away from the city. The immortal energy here is rather poor, so there shouldn't be anyone coming here. Let's take a look at how big that immortal estate is. A ring suddenly appeared on Chen Xiang's finger. With a wave of his hand, the ring flew out and turned into a ray of light as it landed on the ground. The immortal palace flew very far. After landing on the ground, it suddenly shone with a white light. After the white light disappeared, Chen Xiang saw a gigantic palace that looked like it was carved out of white jade. It looked very majestic. It was the most imposing palace Chen Xiang had ever seen. Seeing these 4 words, Chen Xiang was immediately overjoyed. However, when he took a closer look, this manor was not made of jade dragon bone. At the door, after entering, he saw a square in front of him. Sing through the square to the backyard. He saw many immortal fields that were filled with immortal energy, although there were nothing planted on them. A white mist was floating in the soil. At the door, after entering, he saw a square in front of him. Sing through the square to the backyard. He saw many immortal fields that were filled with immortal energy, although there were nothing planted on them. A white mist was floating in the soil. There were a lot of houses here. Gardens, lakes, flowers, trees. There were many of them, just like a palace. What shocked Chen Xiang the most was that after he entered, he could feel that a few formations had appeared in his mind. These formations were extremely profound, and all of them were powerful immortal formations that required a large amount of energy to activate. I can finally go out for a stroll. Chen Xiang's arm flashed, and a cute girl dressed in white appeared, floating down from the sky, watching with a dumbstruck expression. "Little naughty dragon, when did you grow up?" The last time he met Long Shui, she was only a little girl around 10 years old, but now she looked to be 13 or 14 years old. What was most shocking was that her full and upright chest was completely different from her outer appearance. Chen Xiang only described this little dragon girl as a child's voice. "You mean where did he grow up?" Long Shui laughed, raising her chest, then chuckled. "Now you know that I'm not young anymore." Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu also came out from the storage ring at this time, because this immortal estate was protected by a huge array. It was absolutely safe inside, so they didn't need to worry. Looking at the lady dressed in the same blue purple dress, Chen Xiang's eyes grew a little dazed. Although he had chosen to wear these clothes himself, seeing them with his own eyes, Chen Xiang still felt astonished. "It's really big. I don't need to hide in that little mansion anymore. There's even a hot spring." The moment Su Meiyao came out, he started walking around the enormous immortal estate with light footstep. From time to time, he would hear her exclamations, and Bai Yu would also be walking around everywhere to see if they could find a place to live for a long time in the future. The two girls were very satisfied with this immortal estate. Bai Yu also revealed a rare smile on his face, making Qin Xiang's heart itch. "Little scoundrel, you're really something." Su Meiyao smiled as he floated in front of Qin Xiang and kissed his lip. When Qin Xiang wanted to hug her and give her a good kiss, she instead smiled and moved away. "Give this ring back to me, I will take out the things inside. In the future, this Jade Dragon Immortal Palace will be renamed as the Yuyao Yugong, and it will belong to me and senior sister." Su Meiyao chuckled, holding Bai Yu's arm and dancing with joy. Qin Xiang curled his lips. Then, he threw over the ring that Su Meiyao had given him previously, but he was actually very happy in his heart. The Jade Palace was a spoiled child, and it was even two great beauties. He walked out of the Yuyao Yugong, and with a thought, the Jade Palace suddenly disappeared and returned to his finger. "Little naughty dragon, where are you?" Qin Xiang looked at his left shoulder. The white dragon tattoo was still there, but he felt that something was missing. Furthermore, he did not see Long Shui returning to his arm just now. Long Shui laughed heartily. "I'm inside the Yuyao Yugong. I'm bathing in the hot spring with my two big sisters. Do you want to come in?" "What? I want to join in the hot spring as well," Qin Xiang said while grinding his teeth. Just as he was about to release the Yuyao Yugong, he thought about the scene of the three women soaking in the hot spring without any blood, and his lower abdomen became extremely hot. "Don't disturb me." Hearing Bai Yu's bone-chilling words, the fire in Qin Xiang's lower abdomen was immediately extinguished. Long Shui and Su Meiyao immediately giggled. What was even worse was that this little dragon, Long Shui, was actually capable of saying many words that would make people think about them. Sister Yu's Mimi is so cold. It feels really comfortable to touch, but not as big as mine. Little girl, I'll pinch you to death for you to grow so big." Su Meiyao giggled. Qin Xiang clenched his fist. "You guys are so noisy, you big-chested brainless woman, don't think that you can provoke me just like that, it's useless. Little scoundrel, don't worry. I won't pinch that white rabbit of theirs. If I pinch her, I'll pinch her for you from now on." Long Shui's voice was filled with incomparable charm, causing Qin Xiang's mind to become tranquil and calm. He almost wanted to ruthlessly teach this little girl a lesson, and actually tease him again and again. Your little naughty dragon Mimi is definitely fake. You created it yourself with the 72 changes," Qin Xiang said in disdain. Long Shui said in a pitiful voice, "Sister Meiyao and Sister you can bear witness. They are squeezing me very comfortably now, so don't talk about me like that." When he thought of the three women in the hot spring, playing and rubbing each other's chests, his blood started to boil once more. "Little scoundrel, my soul is still on your arm. If you need my help, I can lend you my strength at any time." Long Shui laughed. Previously, due to the ring, Long Shui was unable to enter, but now, this ring was of the highest level, so Long Shui could act like Su Meiyao and Bai Yu, and move inside the Yuyao Yugong. Qin Xiang found a place where there were very few beasts, and carved out a cave. After setting up a formation, he started to cultivate inside. If he wanted to break through his current bottleneck, he would have to first cultivate the congenital Kung-Fu soul to its limit and let the congenital Kung-Fu soul awaken for him to use. Only at that time would he be able to step past the soul martial realm and enter the 100 refining realm. His congenital Kung-Fu soul was from the Fire Dragon Kung-Fu soul, so he did not know how to make this martial spirit strong, because whether it was his spirit, body, or innate qi, he could not continue to improve, and had already reached a saturated state. Long Shui still could not understand why Qin Xiang would have a Fire Dragon Kung-Fu soul. It was because from what Qin Xiang had described, that was the strongest Fire God Dragon soul in the Imperial Dragon race. What Qin Xiang needed to do now was to communicate with the Fire God dragon soul, and obtain a way to strengthen this martial spirit. Even if it's my Imperial Dragon race's fire dragon, it's still very difficult to have a fire god dragon soul. But if it's possessed, it means that this dragon can become a divine dragon in the future, which means that I have a divine dragon soul with great difficulty. You're not a dragon, so it's reasonable that you don't have one. When Long Shui talked about this issue, he was very puzzled. Chen Xiang himself didn't have such a thin dragon's blood like Ling Yulan. He had obtained the dragon's blood after fusing with the devil-suppressing blood, but that was after he obtained the martial spirit. Could it be because you cultivate the 9-turn dragon God mantra that you have it? Long Shui suddenly said. A human who has never cultivated 9-turn dragon God mantra before, it's very possible that it's like this. C655. C655 The power of the 9-turn dragon God spell. Chen Xiang couldn't understand it now either, because he hadn't reached that level yet. Long Shui had mentioned it many times, that this was an cultivation method within the Imperial Dragon clan, and that some dragons that possessed the bloodline of Imperial Dragon didn't have the qualifications to cultivate it. Your fire soul was originally very strong. With this fire soul as the foundation and your cultivation of the 9-turn dragon God spell, there is a high chance that the fire divine dragon and the Tianyang fire soul will give birth to the heaven and earth martial spirit. Long Shui continued, under normal circumstances, only the fire dragon with a great flame potential would be able to develop a fire dragon's divine soul. While talking, Long Shui suddenly appeared in front of Chen Xiang. Looking at the cute girl dressed in white with a huge chest, Chen Xiang sniffed and said, "Little naughty dragon, why are you so big?" "It's all because of the pills I gave you." Long Shui scoffed, "This is all because I can eat it, stop looking at it. What's so nice about being separated by clothes?" Chen Xiang curled his lips and said, "I'm just worried that you won't be able to support me if it's too heavy. Do you want me to help you support yourself?" "Bah!" Long Shui let out a lovable snort, and slowly stretched out her jade-like little hand. A burst of white light seeped out of it, and she placed her hand on Chen Xiang's forehead, then closed her eyes. Chen Xiang was sitting on the ground, but Long Shui was standing. The large jade rabbit that was about to be revealed was right in front of him, causing him to feel extremely hot from watching it. "You see anything?" Chen Xiang asked. "No, but have you seen enough?" Although this Long Shui looked like a girl, her age was not young. In short, in Chen Xiang's eyes, she was a very mischievous little perverted dragon girl. "What's so good about the clothes?" Chen Xiang curled his lips and said. Long Shui withdrew her hand, then said doubtfully, "I actually can't sense your fire dragon martial soul." "No wonder you can't sense it yourself." The martial spirit had merged into every part of Chen Xiang's body, and was closely connected to his divine soul. Furthermore, he also had the fire soul and thunder soul inside his body. "Your martial spirit is very weak. It's very likely that it's scared by your fire soul and other things to the point that it doesn't dare to come out. Try to retract your fire soul's aura, it might be afraid of this," Long Shui said. Chen Xiang nodded, closed his eyes, and quickly entered the netherworld realm. He made himself seem as if he had entered a vast expanse of white space, while he himself floated in the middle of it, and this was his sea of consciousness. He was currently using the power of his divine soul to sense every part of his body, to search for the fire dragon martial soul. After an unknown amount of time, Chen Xiang suddenly heard a very weak cry, and he immediately became excited, because that was a dragon's cry. He anxiously used his senses to feel the fire dragon martial soul. Before long, he could completely sense the fire dragon martial soul. Just like Long Shui had said, because his fire soul was too strong, it caused the young and weak fire dragon martial soul to be suppressed, causing it to increase slowly in his body, and a large amount of energy to be absorbed by the fire soul. "Little naughty dragon, Hurry up and use that dragon pearl to channel more power for me. The more the better. I feel that it is very hungry, and it is also very weak. It might disappear at any time," Chen Xiang said. After Long Shui heard Chen Xiang's words, she placed her hand on his abdomen, turning the energy from the dragon pearl into dragon power, and channeled it into Chen Xiang's body. Feeling the dragon power entering his body, Chen Xiang took the chance to pour the dragon power into the fire dragon martial soul right now, allowing it to absorb the dragon pearl's energy and quickly strengthen itself. Only if the fire dragon martial soul was strong to a certain degree would he be able to step into the next realm. The energy within the dragon pearl was extremely dense. Back then, the strength of the boa dragon was equivalent to that of a powerful immortal. Right now, Chen Xiang knew just how weak his martial spirit was. No wonder he could not break through. He could only not feel the existence of the congenital Kungfu soul. It was because his fire soul was too strong. After 10 days, Chen Xiang could no longer feel the fire dragon martial soul with his strong divine sense, and his body was now emitting a faint heat. Chen Xiang opened his eyes and saw Long Shui pouting while staring at her. "What are you looking at? Have you never seen such a good-looking man?" Chen Xiang smiled. "Pei, I've seen your entire body countless times. There really isn't anything to look at." When Long Shui said these words, her face did not redden at all. On the other hand, Chen Xiang felt very unhappy in his heart. His handsome face flushed red and he snorted, "Little pervert, that's not fair. You've seen me, I haven't seen you before." Long Shui chuckled. "So what? If you have the ability, you can look at me, right?" Both of Chen Xiang's eyes burned with anger. He wanted to burn the little girl's clothes. "If I don't lower myself to your level, you rogue dragon girl, don't bring sister Mei Yao and elder sister Yu. Do you still need me to bring you around?" The dragon blood said with a low laugh. She had transferred more dragon power into Chen Xiang's body. "Concentrate on cultivating my martial spirit. I need to increase the amount of dragon power I enter. If not, you can't go to the 18-layer area before Chaotic Mountain takes place." Chen Xiang immediately closed his eyes and started cultivating the fire dragon martial soul. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed, and Chen Xiang's entire body was enveloped by a layer of red light. His clothes had already been burnt to ashes. A powerful and domineering dragon head faintly appeared on his chest, while a layer of dragon scales seemed to emerge from his entire body, causing Long Shui to be secretly amazed. The white dragon tattoo on Chen Xiang's left shoulder had already disappeared, as it had been taken away by Long Shui. She was worried that when the fire dragon martial soul grew stronger, it would resist against the white dragon's soul power that she had left on Chen Xiang's body, resulting in unnecessary trouble. Roar! Suddenly, Chen Xiang opened his mouth and roared, releasing a dragon roar. The skin on his chest had a tattoo of a burning dragon head. It looked very lifelike. His body was also Hi+ing with pieces of crystal-like fiery red scales, covering half of his body. Long Shui retreated to the side, looked into Chen Xiang's flaming eyes and asked softly, "How are you feeling now?" "The fire dragon martial soul is strengthening. It can already be in my body at the same time as the heaven fire soul." The red light around Chen Xiang's body suddenly disappeared and returned back to its original state. "After resolving this bottleneck, I can now continue to cultivate and transfer the dragon power over. There's still the dragon soul inside the dragon pearl. You need to cultivate divine soul now, but you should absorb the dragon soul inside the dragon pearl." Long Shui spat out a dragon pearl. This dragon pearl was a little too small. It could be seen that in order to make the fire dragon martial soul stronger, Chen Xiang had absorbed a lot of dragon's power. C656. C656. Not only did the dragon pearl have the vigorous energy of dragons, was currently absorbing both of these powers at the same time, strengthening his divine soul and strengthening his innate qi. Long Shui was currently assisting Qin Xiang in cultivation as well. Qin Xiang held the small jade hand that was holding onto the dragon pearl, and absorbed the power of the dragon's soul from it. She then absorbed a large amount of the dragon pearl's energy, transformed it into the dragon power, and pressed one hand on Qin Xiang's abdomen, and poured it into Qin Xiang's body. Dragons were born with the ability to use the dragon power, but humans could only use it through cultivation. Furthermore, the conditions to cultivate the Taiji dragon suppressed kung fu were extremely harsh, so humans with the ability to use the dragon power had terrifying strength. The energy contained within the dragon power was extremely majestic. After entering Qin Xiang's dantian, it was refined by Qin Xiang and refined into a large amount of genuine qi of 5 elements. He compressed all of the innate qi into the 5 beast statue and lit them up. At the same time, Long Shui had also entered a semi-cultivation state. The energy inside the dragon pearl was so dense that after entering her body, it would be absorbed by her as well. The speed at which the energy was absorbed into her body through the dragon power made Qin Xiang exclaim repeatedly, but he knew that this method was not common, and it would take a period of time. Qin Xiang had been holding onto Long Shui's jade hands the entire time, and the dragon pearl was right in the middle of this large and small palm. He remembered that there was an extremely large amount of energy inside the dragon pearl, so it was impossible for it to be absorbed by Long Shui and him in such a short amount of time. Very quickly, he discovered the reason. What he did not expect was that the Yuyao Jade Palace inside the ring was absorbing the energy at a crazy rate, and he could not control it. What's going on? Qin Xiang was getting anxious, because the speed at which the ring absorbed the energy was extremely fast. Right now, he treated the dragon pearl as a treasure for his cultivation. Long Shui, who was cultivating, also opened her eyes, because she could clearly feel that the dragon pearl in her palm was slowly shrinking. What made her feel serious was that both her and Qin Xiang's hands were stuck to the dragon pearl, and were being sucked in by a strange suction force. The problem with the ring: hurry up and cultivate, otherwise the dragon pearl will be gone. This is not a bad thing, do not worry. Long Shui's eyes flickered with white light as she let out a sigh of relief. She gave Qin Xiang a sweet smile, then continued to close her eyes to increase the speed at which she transferred dragon power to Qin Xiang. Qin Xiang was also at a loss at this moment, but he knew that if he was not faster, this dragon pearl would have dried up. What made him most depressed was that the ring was actually absorbing the power of the dragon soul. Not long after, Qin Xiang calmed himself down and entered a quiet cultivation state, crazily refining the dragon power that Long Shui had sent over to him. What made him a little surprised was that the speed at which he refined the dragon power was getting faster and faster, and his body was getting hotter and hotter. The refined power that was released from the raging flames dantian was even more tyrannical, and he could feel that his flames had actually become a lot more powerful. Unknowingly, Qin Xiang's entire body was covered in flames, and he quickly found out the reason behind this. His fire dragon martial soul was actually quickly growing stronger, which surprised him a little, especially with such a speed. Following his continuous increase in innate qi and divine soul, everything within his body was refined and strengthened. He felt that it wouldn't be long before he entered the 100 refining realm. What is this? Qin Xiang was suddenly shocked. He felt a white liquid gus Hi+ing into his body. He could clearly feel that this was not energy, but a white blood liquid, and a large amount of it was currently appearing in his body. It seeped into his limbs and bones, and seeped into his blood, bones, and muscles. At this moment, he felt as if his body was a dried-up piece of land that was continuously being irrigated by this white liquid, causing him to feel extremely comfortable. It's from the ring. Qin Xiang felt it. The ring was frantically releasing the liquid. It allowed the white liquid to continuously enter his body and flood over his body. Although he did not feel his body strengthening, he felt a wonderful feeling. This is a jade dragon blood, your fire dragon martial soul is currently excited. A jade dragon is known as the immortal G.O. D dragon among the dragon race. As long as it is a jade dragon, it will never die. This is a jade dragon blood, your fire dragon martial soul is currently excited. A jade dragon is called the immortal G.O. D dragon among the dragon race. As long as it is a jade dragon, it will never die when it is born. Long Shui said. This caused Chen Xiang and Bai Yuyu to be extremely shocked. Jade Dragon had always been a mysterious individual, but they did not know that there was actually such an earth-shattering secret. Your current Jade Dragon blood should have been pulled out by someone else and injected into this ring. Only by absorbing a large amount of dragon power and dragon soul can this blood be revived. Long Shui continued. The other Imperial Dragoness and some powerful humans require the Jade Dragon blood because they have taken a fancy to the Jade Dragon's inherent power. Su Meiyao was shocked and asked, "Is this the reason why the Jade Dragon's dragon body and dragon soul are indestructible and indestructible? If that's the case, once little scoundrel merged with his Jade Dragon blood, wouldn't he be able to pass through the tribulation easily? It should be like this, but we need to see how many Jade Dragon blood he fused with. These are all the blood essences of the Jade Dragon. After the Jade Dragon gets injured, it doesn't need to absorb energy or anything like that, it can recover quickly. So after we capture one Jade Dragon, we can extract a large amount of blood essence and refine it into our bloodline once in a while." Long Shui replied, "Jade Dragon are not immortal, but if they are themselves, no one can kill them. It is said that once the Jade Dragon is captured, they choose to self-destruct, releasing flames that even the gods fear." Chen Xiang was secretly excited, because the large amount of Jade Dragon blood that surged out from the ring still continued to enter his body, and did not reject him in the slightest. What made him extremely happy was that there were even waves of white mist that surged out from his sea of consciousness, and entered his divine soul. After 3 days and 3 nights, the dragon pearl seemed to only be as big as a grain of rice, and at this time, the Jade Dragon blood had no longer flowed into his body. Enough, it has already fused into your body and divine soul. After you obtained the devil-suppressing blood, you acquired the bone soul which only exist in the divine body. Now with this Jade Dragon blood, I think you really won't die. However, if you are attacked by a powerful expert, I'm afraid you will need a long time to recover." Long Shui said. When Chen Xiang obtained the devil-suppressing blood, his body was already exceptionally strong, reaching the immortal devil body level 45. And in the mortal realm, the bodies of many strong warriors were at most 25%. Although his physical body was stronger than some of the Nirvana stages, it did not mean that he was stronger than any of them, because the innate chi that he had trained in was extremely strong, and could injure him severely with just a finger, but in terms of comparing physical strength, he was invincible within the mortal realm. "It seems like you will be able to cultivate the G.O. delay body finger soon." Bai Yuyu's voice carried a trace of excitement. C657. C657 The Dragon Pearl had completely absorbed all of its energy, and Chen Xiang's divine soul had also grown by quite a bit as well. After breaking through to the adult stage, he had been stuck at the stage of transformation and had now refined his divine soul to the 3rd stage of metamorphosis. According to Long Shui, his current divine soul was vastly different from his physical body and innate chi. Back then, cultivating divine soul was extremely difficult, and even Chen Xiang had no choice. In the cave, Long Shui leaned against the wall of the cave as she held a fruit in her hand. The fruit had been bitten a few times on it, and she was currently watching Chen Xiang cultivate. The dragon scales on Chen Xiang's body merely appeared for a few brief moments before disappearing. Then, his body once again released a fiery red radiance, as if his body was surrounded by a layer of soft flames. The red crystal-like dragon scales suddenly appeared again, and then disappeared. Chen Xiang was completely immersed in his cultivation now. He felt that he was standing on a dragon head that was carved out of fiery red crystals, riding this dragon, soaring about the Taiji Yin and Yang map in his dantian. Of course, the fire dragon that was so huge in Chen Xiang's eyes, in comparison to the five-beast statue, still looked like an ant and a mountain, but Chen Xiang was even more so. Sooner or later, he knew that he would be able to drive the five-beast statue formed with innate qi. Shui, what's the situation with him? When Su Meiyao came out of the Yuyao ring, this ring was named after her because it was meant for her and Bai Yuyu to live in. He might be able to turn this martial spirit into a dragon that he can drive in the future, but he will probably have to wait a long time. He can use the power of the fire dragon now, and this little scoundrel is now a mutant dragon. Long Shui laughed. That means he doesn't inherit the dragon's bloodline all the time, but has used his own fortuitous encounter to give himself the power to fight against the dragon. This kind of person is what the Imperial Dragon clan fears the most. Suddenly, Chen Xiang opened his eyes and a red light flashed. It looked just like a pair of fire dragon eyes. The terrifying flames ignited in his eyes. His body was ignited in flames. The faint fiery red dragon scales overflowed the surface of his body, but he did not look sinister at all. Instead, he had a kind of strange beauty, just like the way he revealed his profound martial diamond armor's domineering aura. We've entered the 100 refining realm. Long Shui laughed, her small face revealing an ambiguous look that did not match her outer appearance. Sister Meiyao, other than the Ti of Undying Dragon in the Imperial Dragon clan, does the Jade Dragon have another Ti? After knowing that Chen Xiang had entered the 100 refining realm, Bai Yuyu also came out from the Yuyao ring. Looking at Chen Xiang, who was covered in beautiful dragon scales, her eyes flashed with a strange light, and she couldn't help but take a few more glances. Chen Xiang was focused on absorbing the power of giving. After absorbing the power of giving, he would be a 100 refining realm warrior. What nickname? Bai Yuyu asked, but not long after she asked the question, she was already regretting it. This name is not limited to Gonglong, and is commonly known as Yin Dragon. Those strong male dragons in Imperial Dragon Clan are indeed very perverted, which is why there are many demon beasts that have dragon blood in their bodies. However, male Jade Dragoness are even more perverted. Long Shui chuckled. Actually, it's not like that either, it's just that there are too many female dragons trying to tempt the Jade Dragon, and if I were to go with the Jade Dragon, I can also obtain that kind of indestructible power. Su Meiyao scoffed and used all her strength to pinch Long Shui's pill. Little dragon, what do you mean by that? Long Shui laughed tenderly. As for whether there will be any benefits from doing that with Chen Xiang, I'll have to let the two sisters verify it. Why didn't you personally verify it? Bai Yuyu blushed slightly and asked softly. I'm still young. Long Shui stuck out her tongue. Su Meiyao grabbed towards her chest, grabbed onto an imposing object, and snorted. You're still young? Chen Xiang didn't know that these three beauties were playing with each other, otherwise he would definitely be distracted. Long Shui and Su Meiyao played around for a while before continuing. Because the Jade Dragon are too hot-going, they were completely exterminated by the Imperial Dragon. Otherwise, these Imperial Dragon would not have been able to find a good female Imperial Dragon to give birth to a pure descendant. Sister Meiyao, so you have to look favorably on a little man. If the news of him possessing a Jade Dragon blood spreads, let alone a woman, even a man. Hee. Chen Xiang suddenly heard it, and almost choked to death on a mouthful of blood. Don't say any more, it's not good to go berserk later. Bai Yuyu looked at Chen Xiang with concern. If she wasn't a little afraid of the heat emitted from Chen Xiang's body, she would have definitely wiped off Chen Xiang's sweat. Feeling Bai Yuyu's tenderness, Chen Xiang's mood immediately improved, and he absorbed the power of giving a little faster. Su Meiyao pinched Long Shui's face and laughed. Little milkman, do you also want to steal my little man? Long Shui pouted but did not reply. The cave was silent for a moment, then Long Shui muttered, I should be a big-breast dragon. This made Su Meiyao burst out in laughter, as she reached out and took this mischievous and sweet little dragon girl into her arms. 5 days had passed, said. Chen Xiang's body suddenly trembled, a dragon's roar came out from his body, causing the entire forest to shake slightly, and that dragon roar spread out along with the shock. Thinking back to the forest, the birds and beasts were startled, and they all started to flee. When Chen Xiang opened his eyes, 2 streams of flames would frequently spurt out from his eyes, converging into what seemed to be a flaming dragon, bared its fangs and brandished its claws, and directly smashed apart the shattered rocks inside the cave. I've finally broken through. Bai Yuyu heaved a sigh of relief, looked at Chen Xiang gently, and returned to the Yuyao ring s. Su Meiyao walked over, gave him a kiss on his lips, then petted him a little before turning into a white light and entering the Yuyao ring. Long Shui pursed her lips. The little girl actually revealed a kind of flirtatious expression, startling Chen Xiang. What are you going to do now? Chen Xiang looked at her chest where her clothes were about to burst, and asked with curled lip. You've broken through, but it's all thanks to me. Give me some rewards. Long Shui stretched out her small hands and chuckled as she looked at Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang took out a nature fruit and placed it on her palm. Eat it. When Long Shui saw Chen Xiang's mischievous smile, she sputtered and went to the Yuyao ring s. On Chen Xiang's left shoulder, there was still a white dragon tattoo, which was left behind for Long Shui to quickly borrow strength to give him. At this time, his innate qi and divine soul had become much stronger, and there were more than 320,000 Jinyuan granule in his dantian. When he walked out of the cave, he stamped his feet fiercely, and after a burst of explosive lightning bolts, the ground immediately cracked, forming a network of cracks blazing with fire and lightning. Using the 72 changes now should be much simpler. Chen Xiang transformed into a small hawk and flapped his wings, instantly flying into the sky and gliding in the air. If this was before he had broken through, if he flew into the air, he would definitely be pressured by a strange pressure, making it hard for him to fly. But now, he could resist the pressure and fly into the air. Therefore, he didn't need to travel those dangerous, long distances like before. If this was before he had broken through, if he flew into the air, he would definitely be pressured by a strange pressure, making it hard for him to fly. But now, he could resist the pressure and fly into the air. Therefore, he didn't need to travel those dangerous, long distances like before. Little naughty dragon, how do I know if I possess the indestructible power of the Jade Dragon? Chen Xiang asked. Even though he felt that his entire body, and even his soul, contained a strange power, he did not dare to be certain. It's very simple. Cut off your fingers. If you can grow them quickly, even if you have them, or cut off a piece of flesh from your body, you can see the flesh growing out. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang's heart twitched. Wasn't this M-A-S-O-C-H-I-S tick? What if he didn't grow up? Wouldn't that be cutting himself off? Is there no other way? Chen Xiang asked again as he landed beside a river. Other ways. Find a woman and do that with her, then she can feel that strange energy that is unique to Yulong blood fuse into your body, even if you have all the Yulong blood there. Long Shui paused for a moment, then continued. Right, if a woman wants to completely possess a Yulong blood, you might have to cultivate her many times. Cultivate. Chen Xiang suddenly wanted to ruthlessly hit the little dragon's B-U-T-T, and it actually became worse and worse. However, when he thought that she was not a little girl, he felt that it was better not to. Chen Xiang released the Green Dragon Demon-Slain Broadsword, but at this time, the Green Dragon Demon-Slain Broadsword was following his control, transforming into a small green dagger. He was considering whether or not he should try and test if he really obtained the Yulong blood's inheritance. If you are unwilling, then let me do it, Long Shui said excitedly. Bah! Chen Xiang kept his blade properly. He still decided not to do it, because his body was extremely strong right now. If he lost a finger or cut off a piece of flesh, he would need to use a large amount of precious pills in order to recover. It's better to wait until we return to the mortal Kung Fu realm and find Xian Xian. Chen Xiang chuckled. Furthermore, that is a very happy method. It was only on the 16th floor that Chen Xiang found it hard to fly, because the strange pressure here made it hard to continue flying in the air. However, after he landed on the ground, it became much easier. This meant that he had to travel a more dangerous path. Motherf *Ker, all I see are mutated immortal beasts. If I see one, I'll die. Chen Xiang took out his Luotian gate. He planned to use up all his strength to travel through SPAC here. Although Long Shui could sense the immortal beast hiding in the surrounding area, once it was targeted by the fierce beasts, it would be very difficult to escape. There were even some immortal beasts that had a strong concealed surname. When encountering this type, Chen Xiang would fall into extreme danger. Maybe you won't die. At most, you'll need some time to be reborn. Su Meiyao laughed. He couldn't guarantee his safety even if Chen Xiang stayed at the place he was at right now. He told Long Shui to find the Heaven Sacred City on the 18th floor quickly and then teleport outside the city. After Long Shui and her shared the power of the Dragon Pearl, her magic power had increased by a lot, and she and Chen Xiang also had some sort of strange connection. Right now, she was using the Heaven Tour method more quickly, and could even split herself into many divine intents to search. I found it. Long Shui told Chen Xiang the location and said, your strength should be enough to travel across this distance. Leaping into SPAC in this high-level area will require more energy than if you were to return to the mortal martial realm. Chen Xiang activated the Luotian gate, and felt the innate qi in his body suddenly rush out like a Luotian gate. The extremely fast speed seemed to have sucked him dry, the innate qi instantly plusing out from his meridians, causing him to feel an endless amount of pain. In an instant, the Luotian gate had absorbed 90% of his power and opened a spatial door. He immediately entered the spatial door and arrived outside a field. He quickly consumed a few medicinal pellets to recover his exhausted innate qi. With this, the thick and dense innate qi left him in a state of unease. After recovering 30% of his innate qi, Chen Xiang ran back to the Heaven Sacred City. It would be better to be in the city than in the wilderness. Coming to the 18th floor, the immortal energy here was indeed the densest. Although he could use the devouring magic kung fu to absorb and refine it, it would still take a lot of time and would not work. On this floor, Chen Xiang felt like he was an ant walking in a world full of giants, worried that he would be accidentally stepped on to death, especially after he entered the city. The nirvana stage that filled the streets shocked him. Although he had met a few hundred refining realms, most of them had followers from nirvana stage, and they were all from wealthy SSES. Fortunately, Chen Xiang's concealing ability was not bad, and others could not see through his strength. This great assembly was about to begin. There were only 3 days left, which caused a lot of people on this level, and Chen Xiang had also heard that a few of the larger cracks were being blocked, while the smaller cracks were being left to the younger generation to gain experience. I wonder if Yan Xilan will come. If I can't find her, I might have to return to the mortal martial realm like this. Chen Xiang had always planned to bring back a batch of ground-level pills from here. Only through Yan Xilan could he get the most and the cheapest. The Sacred Dance City had a lot of properties on every floor in the large cities, and it was very easy to find them in the Sacred Dance School. Yan Xilan was the person in charge of the business in the large cities on every floor, and she was the one in charge of the business in the Sacred Dance School. He walked past a street and saw a wall filled with his portrait. The bounty was even being fought over because he had destroyed a city lord's mansion and infuriated a force. This made him even more careful. Chen Xiang now felt like he had entered a tiger's den. He had to be wary of everyone, and if he was targeted like before and told the immortals, he would be in deep trouble. I never thought that Chaotic Mountain, who usually stay away from cities, would start a business here, and even get a little girl to back him up. This little girl is not bad, her talent in alchemy is high, her looks are good, and her strength is not weak. Right now, a cauldron is placed outside their shop, where a group of young masters will fight for her. Chen Xiang suddenly heard a conversation between an old man and something that he had heard before. It was inconceivable. Lin Shi could at most refine a mid-grade ground level, but she could actually create a shop in this city with many powerful people. Chen Xiang did not want to go near at all, but he suddenly heard a laughter coming from afar. Fan Yakin, you're a gravedigger, and you really do not do ordinary things. Instead of helping your fan family's store, you came here to help recruit business, and I never expected that you would also kneel down in front of a woman's skirt. Chen Xiang knew that the Chaotic Mountain's medicine shop was not far away, and when he heard that Fan Yakin and Lin Shi had gotten along, he secretly clicked his tongue and decided to go take a look as well. After he found Fan Yakin, he would also have a way to contact the Du family.